Hello YouTube, how's it going? Welcome to the Thursday YouTube show. As you can see, once again, I can stream on YouTube because that strike was dealt with. So, how's it going? Uploads and live streams here on Thursday should continue as planned. If you missed the last time, YouTube memberships. I did turn on YouTube memberships if you want to support the show that way. And if you want to receive any gift memberships, you have to turn that on. So if anyone gifts subs, I pulled up a video in case anyone's curious, because I didn't know how to do it. If you ever want to turn on receiving gift subs,
purchase a gift membership. Then you can click on the Allow Gifts prompts, which will open another window where you'll be able to toggle the opt-in button for that channel.
Just saying, it's a thing. So today, and I think this is going to be the plan moving forward for Thursday YouTube streams, is they're going to be a little more free-form. Twitch streams are going to continue to pretty much be themed day by day, like Tinfoil Tuesdays, and of course we do Chud Watches and stuff. YouTube streams on Thursdays, I think it's going to be more a grab bag. Whatever's interesting but maybe didn't fit into any of those other specific streams. So like maybe Sobsit stuff that I didn't have time for, Bed Bath & Beyond stuff, whatever. Today I have a whole variety of chuds and conspiracies and weird bullshit to look at, so... Thank you, Nova. Let me see, who's in chat? Hey, Halloween Town. How's it going? Oh, and like and share the stream, I guess, because that's a thing you're supposed to do on YouTube. Okay, let's get into it. What are we doing first? Gosh. Alex Chiu has invented something new. So let's take a look.
Yeah, this is the reason why I named my cell realignment machine the cell realignment machine, okay? Because, look, if...
Oh boy, he's just getting right into it. Okay, here's how his cell realignment machine works. I'll remind you if you don't know. Alex Chiu is the quote-unquote inventor of the immortality rings that are literally just magnets glued to plastic rings. He thinks if you sleep in these, you'll live forever. Haven't tried it, but I'm still alive, so I don't know, maybe they're doing something in proximity. And now he's invented some sort of cell thing.
If you have an injury in, like in your flesh, okay, your cells are like this, it's splintered. That's the reason why you see a scar tissue, whatever bone fracture or...
I'm thinking maybe he doesn't have an MD. I don't know if he's capable of making assessments like this.
You have a scar in the flesh, you could see your cells are splintered. And when you use my machine, right, what it does is when the machine is sending out like frequencies, right?
Frequencies. For the last time, people, frequencies. You need a unit. Frequency of what? What is the frequency of? A frequency is a measure of something, right? What are you measuring here that has a frequency? Sound waves have frequencies. You need something that has the frequency. Frequency doesn't exist like out there in the ether. Like there is no frequency that exists as a physical thing. It's a concept to measure things.
It realigns the cells, When it sends out healing frequency and synchronizes with your cells, and it would just realign the...
Hey, that one stuff. Thank you for a $5 super chat. Says, I think they should bury Mitch McConnell in a Ninja Turtle sarcophagus. And then Smith Black with $5 says he hasn't aged at all. Look at how flat his belly is. It's true. He nailed it. He has never aged a day. Trust us, chat.
The cells. It will condense...
Terradona, thanks for gifting 5 memberships to the community. Much appreciated. Remember, you have to turn on gift membership acceptance manually if you want to be a recipient of a gift membership.
The cells, it would basically make it more compact. And then the cells would
You're trying to make the cells denser?
Basically grow back together, And then, theoretically speaking, it becomes brand new again. You understand? It's like
even within what you're saying, no, that's not what that would be.
You're born this way. There's no more scar tissue. Scar tissue is flat out, That's the reason why I call my machine the cell realignment machine, because that's exactly what my machine does, okay? it basically condenses your cells and make your flesh perfect again, okay?
What exactly is the cell realignment machine, and what does it do?
Oh. He built it. All right, then.
Written by Alex Chiu. The cell realignment machine is a machine that sends out a belt of electric wave which penetrates your body in order to heal your injuries. It started off as an accidental discovery by Alex.
I'm doing YouTube Thursdays. Thursdays are going to be YouTube streams. The rest of the time I'm still on Twitch. I'm just giving options because I know there are some people that don't use Twitch and use YouTube.
Chiu. In 2017, Alex Chiu was sleeping with an ionic air purifier placed right beside his head. Then the entire house suffered an electric outage. Right when the electricity was shut off, he noticed a gush of chi energy coming out of the air purifier.
A gush of chi energy. I am so curious. What about it made you think that it was chi energy? For one thing, there isn't any evidence that chi energy exists. I understand that it is a thing, vaguely in some spiritual beliefs, but I don't know anything about that. But I don't think that your ionizer shot it out, and I don't believe that you can detect it, because it's a hypothetical woo-woo concept. Okay,
Alex-
idea. We're gonna build a monk in D&D, but they get a magic item that's just this ionic air thing, and he gets infinite key points. Because that's what it's based off of.
Wondered why he felt a gush of healing energy when electricity was shut off.
What do you mean healing energy? Like, how do you define healing energy?
He suspected that the capacitors inside the air purifier started to leak energy once electricity was shut off. This incident made Alex...
And did you test that claim in any way, or did you just assume you had the thought, so it's true, Alex?
realize that capacitors have great healing potential. Ever since that day,
Capacitors have great healing potential. So did you just, like, stick a bunch of capacitors in a box?
Alex experimented with capacitors tirelessly. But one cannot just put a big old capacitor inside a machine and expect it to send out healing energy.
I agree with that sentence. I would agree with that sentence. I feel like I'm not going to agree with the but, but I agree with that sentence.
You have to tune it to a certain frequency that...
Dr. Gamble with a $5 super chat says, this is like something I would make at Camp Invention when in 3rd grade, lore and all.
synchronizes with your flesh. It's like controlling your TV with a remote control. If the
There are different kinds of remotes. There are IR remotes, which have been the most common kind historically. The original remotes actually made a noise that the televisions picked up on, but then it went to IR, and nowadays some of them are Bluetooth. Just depends. The big fancy ones are. There are different ways that remotes work, Alex. What the fuck? I know you're just using it as like a arbitrary thing of you can control it, but that's a weird example.
frequency is not right, the TV cannot even turn on.
BBBY, GameStop, Teddy.
So Alex...
GameStop CFO resigned probably to go to Teddy. That's probably it. That's probably it.
Chiu tried different levels of capacitors and tuned their frequencies by adding resistors to them. Also, another problem is how do you make the electron healing wave shoot out of the machine so that it can penetrate the flesh in order to heal the flesh?
What's Teddy? It's the conspiracy theory company that Bed Bath & Beyond meme stock conspiracy theorists that I've been covering. They think it's going to compete with Amazon. Is this Yo person is this just the same person that was trolling on Twitch? Because I don't have time for this shit. But if you want to have an actual discussion, we can, if you're not that person. But of course you wouldn't say if you were, so.
Flesh. Even if the frequency is correct, it's totally useless.
That one stuff with a $5 super chat says, do you think orphans are funny because they don't have parents? Do you even remember that cold open? I don't. I do not remember that cold open. I don't remember most of them.
If you cannot make the electron wave shoot out.
Oh, we are discussing Bed Bath & Beyond at some point.
Alex Chiu solved that problem by adding a gun turret inside the machine.
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what?
Even if the frequency is correct, it's totally useless if you cannot make the electron wave shoot out. Alex Chiu solved that problem by adding a gun turret inside the machine.
I assume he's using that metaphorically and not literally, like it shoots out the energy, thus gun turret. Doesn't make sense either way, but I'm trying to find internal consistency in the crazy.
When in the video,
I always find it interesting. Here's something that I'm curious about to the yo person. If you look at my channel, clearly I cover crazy people. Like, you can see that I cover wackadoo people. Do you also agree with Alex Chiu here? Or do you just think I've made a grave error in thinking that Bed Bath & Beyond stock conspiracy theories are conspiracy theories? Like, you guys act as though I don't know how conspiracy theories operate. It's just interesting to me. Like, looking at my channel and the people I've covered... Oh, you're a troll. 100% a fucking troll.
video I say there's a gun turret, right?
There it is.
See, I cannot explain that in the video what gun turret really is. How come the gun turret is so important?
Mods, you can get rid of the yo person.
It's because, you know, without the gun turret,
they're definitely trolling and being contrarian just because.
right? If I didn't add a gun turret,
Thank you.
just the capacitor alone, the capacitor doesn't really send out frequency to very far. It doesn't send out frequency like this, you know. See, if I need a machine to send out frequencies far, you know.
Like, either it's the most blatant, obvious trolling in history, or that person is genuinely so stupid that I would feel bad talking to them. Either way, other things to talk about.
Like at least 2 or 3 feet, so it could penetrate into my body, right? If the machine doesn't send out
I think there are easier ways to be penetrated.
frequency, see, without the gun turret, the capacitor only send out frequency like this. You know, it's like a small circle. It's like a real small circle. It's like this. So you can imagine the machine is useless without the you know, if the capacitor is sending out frequency like this small. You know, it. But then
Is hiding them the same as banning them? I believe so, yes. I don't think YouTube has an outright ban button. They call it hiding from channel because they can watch, but they can't. They can even type, actually, it just no one sees it, so they're screaming into the void.
I discovered that if I put this
Which is arguably funnier.
capacitor inside like a tunnel, you know, I call it a gun turret. You put it inside a tunnel in my machine.
I call it a gun turret, for no reason. It's a tunnel, and by tunnel I mean a tube. It's a tube I found. But gun turret sounds cooler, so...
There's like a gun turret like this, you know. You put a capacitor inside the gun turret, and then you seal it up. So negative prong, okay, here's the negative prong, right? See the negative prong, right? You seal it up. So the negative prong...
Is it literally like a paper towel tube? Like, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt in my head and think it's just like PVC or something, but the lighting makes it look weird. But it really sounds like he literally stuck this in like a toilet paper or like paper towel tube. It sounds like it's cardboard. And I am shocked that I every time I look at like Alex, I'm like, this can't get crazier. This can't get more ridiculous. But the bar always somehow gets lower. It's just disappointment all the way down.
Cannot,
Those poor elephants.
like, just go back to
Or
the
turtles. Turtles all the way down is the joke. I ruined it.
positive prong through the turret. It has to go like that, you know. See, here's the positive prong. Here's the positive prong. It's all the way inside the turret, you know. So basically, the frequency is sending out like this. It become, you know, it's gonna go very, very far, you know. It makes a huge circle, you know. It goes at least 2 or 3 feet away, you know. So it could penetrate your body. You understand? You could put the machine near.
Oh yeah, he taped those together. That is 2 toilet paper tubes taped together. Not even with like electrical tape or duct tape. That just looks like packing tape. And not even good packing tape. Like the cheapest Dollar Tree packing tape you could find. Okay. So let me tell you guys a story. When I was a child, one time I was at my grandparents' house, and you know how kids are. You want to make things sometimes. So I built a robot, and what it was like empty clothing and then like different things shoved in the armholes to make it look like it had little clampy hands and like something for the feet. I don't remember what I used. And then for the head, I had a flashlight that kind of opened up. So it had almost like a jaw thing going on, but it looked like a space shuttle. So I used that as the head because it gave kind of a jaw effect. So, you know, I'm a kid, so I'm playing pretend. I'm building a robot. Of course you're not really. You're a little child. And you're trying to match sort of aesthetics that you have seen in things, because as a child, aesthetics are what you know. It's the surface layer. You're not thinking of the underlying mechanics of anything. You're just like, oh, this looks like a head, so this is the head of the robot, even though that makes no sense, and it doesn't have to, because it's a kid playing pretend. Alex is 50 years old, and he still thinks this way. He still, like, thinks that I made it look like a thing, so it's a thing. I thought about it, and in my head it made sense, and then I made it, and it looks like the thing in my head, so it must work like I thought in my head the way it works. It's like, it's not even magical thinking, it's just not thinking. Oh my god.
Near your bed, you know, and the machine will send out like frequency, like 2 or 3 feet to penetrate into your body, you know, synchronizes your cells, and then basically just, you know, realign your cells, you know, basically make your cells more dense.
Capacitors, which collect.
Makes your cells more dense? I don't think you would want that. You're describing the cells basically like collapsing in on themselves? That would be bad for you. That wouldn't heal you. That would be terrible.
That's all the electrons.
It just reminds me of like the explanation in the Honey, We Shrunk the Kids movies, how the shrink machine works. They go into it more in the sequels. I don't know if you've seen Honey, We Blew Up the Baby or Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which I like both of those movies more than Honey, We Shrunk the Kids, believe it or not. That's important to point out. Anyway, in the sequels, they explain that they basically, the Zelinsky shrink machine works by decreasing the empty space between atoms, which of course isn't possible, but it's technobabble bullshit. It increases the density of the objects, so theoretically things should weigh the same, even though of course they don't, because Pym particle magic. But that's a children's movie. So it's fine that the technobabble doesn't make sense. It's like, it's a kid's comedy, wacky sci-fi adventure. Things don't need to make sense. Alex thinks this is the real world! Baha and I have played Grounded. We love it. We've played a ton of it. We've actually played it on stream before. We were so close to finishing it, and we haven't, because she's been very busy with her PhD and everything. So eventually, we will have the time and go back and finish it. But I love that game. I think it's so fun.
Without this gun turret design, the electron belt cannot even shoot.
I'll say this. I think Grounded is my favorite crafting builder game since Minecraft. Like, there have been a lot that have come out. I played Rust a little, you know, I've played a decent number of, like, crafting, building, tech tree games. Grounded is a good one. I'd recommend it.
Out 3 inches away from the machine. Okay. So this machine can shoot out healing belt. But how exactly does the healing belt heal your injury?
I've not played Raft. I've seen people play it. I think, oh god. Caitlin and I always forget his name. Caitlin and her husband, who are streamers on YouTube and YouTubers in general. Evan. Caitlin and Evan? Evan and Caitlin? Thank you, Baha. Anyway, they did a playthrough and I saw some of that and it looked fun.
Well, if the electron belt can synchronize with your flesh, it can realign your flesh. Which means the energy belt can pull your cells together. When cells are being pulled together, they heal up faster. Old injuries can disappear or can reduce in size. Some patients use this machine to combat epilepsy.
What?
By placing this machine near
you can't just say that. You're making medical claims. This is illegal.
Head during sleep, it may prevent.
Like, Jilly Juice got in trouble for this, and she was selling fermented cabbage water recipes. This is an actual device. Are you gonna try and sell this to people? Like, I'm gonna be honest. I bought the rings that he had. They were overpriced, but I thought as a little souvenir thing from his, like, weird nonsense, I thought it would be fun. I would never buy this. Is he actually wiring stuff to a battery? Is that gonna explode in his house and start, like, a lithium-ion battery fire? Like, what is he doing?
Seizures. The machine realigns the brain tissue so that seizures no longer occur.
Oh, fuck off.
Some patients with long-haul COVID claims that the cell realignment machine healed many of their strange symptoms that doctors don't even dare to confront. I used this machine to reduce headache when I first contracted COVID-19.
Oh god, he's doing it as a COVID thing too. No!
The headache was so painful that I could not fall asleep at night. So I just placed the cell realignment machine exactly 2 feet away from my head. And the pain in my forehead reduced dramatically.
What's the placebo effect?
I woke up the next morning with...
It's like that head-on stuff that was a scam. Head-on, apply directly to the forehead. Head-on, apply directly to the forehead. That turned out to be a scam, by the way, if you also saw those commercials as a kid, and you were like, that's weird. It's bullshit, they got sued. It's not true.
without any headache and without a fever. This machine can reshape fractured cheekbone.
Did I see the video of Matt Walsh judging a fight between 2 dudes in diapers? No kink shaming, but between that and the whole Sweet Baby Gang and Matt Walsh diapered plush, hoo boy. The bigger issue is within that video, one of the people has a Nazi tattoo on their back. One of the people in the video, who I guess is one of Matt Walsh's friends from the past, maybe still a current friend, had a swastika tattoo on his back. Other people have pointed that out, but it's worth noting.
It can re-heal your organs. It does many incredible things that many doctors cannot even explain. The cell realignment machine is much safer than magnetic pulsars or Tesla coil-based healing machines.
Also things that are bullshit.
That is because the electron belts sent out from the capacitors are 100% flexible. The electron belt penetrates the flesh and exits the flesh without causing any harm. But if you use a magnetic pulsar, the magnetic field can injure your cell tissue, causing
I don't
even
watch
more
Keffels.
harm.
I don't like Keffels very
And
much.
Tesla coil-based machines like the Likovsky multi-wave generators are mostly untested, undocumented, and extremely expensive machines. This concludes the entire video. Thanks for watching.
What a crazy person. Oh my god.
Here's why, okay?
What is-
Pulsars, those are very, very dangerous. Magnetic pulsars are extremely dangerous. Here's why, okay? You know, magnetic field, right? It's not flexible, you understand? Like, my machine sends out electric wave, okay? It doesn't send out magnetic field. Electric wave is flexible, you know? It could basically travel into your body at any shape and at any form. Like, it's turbulent like water. It's shapeless, you know?
Turbulent
It could
juice.
travel into your body and come out from the other side, right? But magnetic pulses is not that. Magnetic wave, it's very dangerous. It's not flexible, you know. Magnetic wave travel like in a circle. You ever
Hey Ash, how's it going?
I forgot what it's called. It's the Earth has this von Wender's belt or something, you know, like they say that
What?
von Wen. I forgot what it's called. It's the Earth has this von Wender's belt or something, you know.
Oh, what the generator, the belt generator is what he's talking about that generates power. No wait, is he talking about the Van Allen belt? I thought he was trying to talk about this. Hold on. Let me find one. Van de Graaff generator, that's what I'm thinking of. Van de Graaff generators. My science teacher had one of these and used it in our physical science class. A Van de Graaff generator is an electrostatic generator which uses a moving belt to accumulate static charge on a hollow metal globe on the top of an insulated column, creating a very high electric potential. It produces a very high voltage direct current electricity at low current levels. It was invented by American physicist Robert J. Van de Graaff in 1929. The potential difference achieved by modern Van de Graaff generators can be as much as 5 megavolts. So I assume he's heard of this and is trying to use it in his explanation? He said Earth has a belt of some kind. I think he thinks... My interpretation was that I think he thinks that the Earth's magnetic field is... I think he's trying to describe the way that the Earth's magnetic field is generated by its iron core, and he's trying to use a Van de Graaff generator as an example, even though that's not right. I could be wrong, of course.
Like, they say that they say the moon landings are fake because astronauts cannot travel out of Earth and reach the moon because there's a Van Vander belt, you know.
Oh, the Van Allen belt. He is talking about that. Thank you.
It's like a magnetic, wave, you know.
Is he talking about, like, the magnetosphere of the Earth?
You know, it has radiation in the wave. So you could imagine magnetic wave. Those magnetic pulsars are extremely dangerous. It's almost like microwave, you know. You use that, you're gonna hurt your own body. You're gonna hurt yourself, you know. But
is he? I hope nothing is actually plugged in. I'm afraid he's actually gonna, like, give himself cancer or something and shoot himself with, like, some weird bullshit, thinking it's healing, and he's gonna give himself a tumor or something.
My machine sent out.
He didn't show his stomach in this video, which is sus to me. I'm wondering if the rings aren't working so well.
It doesn't send out magnetic wave. It sends out electric wave. You understand? Electric waves are flexible, so it could travel into your body, you know, and then it helps you realign the cells, right? Make it more dense, you know, and it doesn't do any harm to the body. You understand? That's the main difference between my machine and those magnetic pulsars out there. Magnetic pulsars are very dangerous, you know, and also. Another machine is Lakovsky multi-wave generators. You know, those machines, those are untested. You know, they're
as opposed to Alex's machine, which is tested to the highest degree of scientific scrutiny, obviously, which is vibes he has.
Those are untested, unproven. You know, it was like invented, patented by someone.
Why does that look like a Nazi flag? This guy's name is Alex Chiu. He's deleted these videos, but my understanding is that he has claimed in the past that he thinks he is a reincarnation of an SS officer, and so he made a custom flag to represent that. It's supposed to look like a Nazi flag because he thinks he is a reincarnated Nazi.
Some Russian guy in the 1930s, you know, in a machine it has
the
machine has like hundreds of capacitors inside. And it's huge, you know.
And hello, Peter Vandervliet. Peter Vandervliet? Is that it? That's what it sounds like. Your last name is so fun to say. Vandervliet. Vliet. Just saying that name makes me feel like I want to eat the most disgusting fish ever brought out of the ocean.
If you want to build that machine, it's huge. It's like almost the size of a half a room, you know. Fucking, it's like a laboratory and stuff. It's like where you're working inside a laboratory. It's just, and it makes a lot of noise, you know. And my machine, this is a small size machine, you know, and it would basically replace Lakovsky and make it better. It's better than Lakovsky because I figured it all out, you know. But basically, that's what it is all about.
Genius. What a brilliant man. Truly, we're honored to be in his presence. Surströmming is the fish you're looking for. It's probably not even the right country. It's close enough. You know, it's all those countries that are vaguely kind of Skyrim-y, right? Oh, my American brain rot is so bad. Oh, this commercial from 1992 is a McDonald's commercial, and I think it's aged badly.
I like going through changes. I am down for variety. So it's nice that McDonald's now offers a burger of the month. Each month, a different delicious burger. Yo, it's me. This month, it's the double quarter pounder with cheese. A half pound of 100% pure beef piled high on a sesame seed bun. It's all that. Now, next month, we can look forward to a different burger taste. That's happening. What you want is
I feel so bad for this actor having to put on these costumes.
what you get at McDonald's today.
Oh my god! It's literally like they were like, alright, we have costumes for every 90s stereotype of a black man. Which one do you want to wear first? Yikes. Thanks, McDonald's. Let's see Michael's video. This is one of the BBBY people. He's regularly on the PP show. This is his update from earlier today. This was an hour or so ago. Hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Smith Black with a $5 super chat says, if you want to see a bad McDonald's commercial, you should see the banned Filet-O-Fish commercial. Ooh. Oh no. Can they culturally appropriate themselves? I'm gonna go ahead and say that the writers and directors and ad executives that came up with that video were probably white guys. Just a guess. Could be wrong. But I'm thinking it was probably white guys who came up with the idea. I find it hard to believe that that's a commercial that was created by anyone who has any sense. Yeah, this is the guy who has the MD, but never got placed into residency, so he's not like a doctor, but he has an MD. He can't practice medicine. He has an MD, so I think technically he's a doctor, but he doesn't have the profession of being a doctor in the colloquial sense.
Hey everyone, we got two pieces of information which are quite perplexing, I guess you could say.
Are they perplexing, or is it just stuff you don't want to hear? Stuff I warned you about.
Bed Bath & Beyond's situation, and I just wanted to address it real quick.
Yeah, the MD story was on a previous stream. I'm not sure if it got posted to YouTube yet, because there was like a week I couldn't upload to YouTube, so now I'm working on the backlog. So it might get uploaded in the next week or so as I... Excuse me, as I get those things out.
One is the rejection of the leases. Supposedly I'm on the road, so I haven't gone through the dockets yet.
Yeah, some dockets were filed last night, late in the evening, early morning, that basically showed tons and tons more leases from Bed Bath & Beyond and Bye Bye Baby being canceled or rejected, so that means they weren't able to pass on the lease to anyone else for those leases. And obviously they are not going to continue paying for them, so it's basically, as part of their bankruptcy, it's just a filing that says, like, we're done. We're done. The lease is canceled. The landlord can find new tenants, and we are absolved of our obligation to pay, basically.
And the other was the comment by the chief marketing executive saying that they tried everything, but they ran out of liquidity. And my first thoughts is, one, the leases are going to be talked about on the 31st.
I'm sure they'll talk about them, but it doesn't change the fact that they've been rejected. Like, what do you think's gonna happen here?
And so that isn't final.
Like, the entire point of court filings is to be as specific and accurate and clear as possible. It feels like you guys are continually trying to find secret messages in these court documents, when it's like, that's the opposite of what a court document is supposed to be. Like, if there's something hidden in your court document, then you failed in doing a court document. Everything in it should be self-evident, or not self-evident, but explained within the text, clearly, with definitions. Like, it's nuts. Stream's been going for about 43 minutes.
And two, the problem that the chief marketing officer said was they ran into liquidity problems. And
one of the former people who was, an executive type, from Bed Bath & Beyond posted on their LinkedIn and had a whole message. I read it on stream like yesterday or the day before. But it was basically, hey, I'll miss Bed Bath & Beyond. Here are my memories here. You should hire the people who worked here because they were really great to work with. And then explaining what he thought went wrong with the company. So, honestly, even a lot of the people on, like, the PP subreddit and the Bed Bath & Beyond subreddit, they were, like, looking at this and going, oh my god, what is this? Like, even some of them, I think, jumped, which is why I think the price went down earlier. The price went down to, I think, 23 cents or so, or 25 cents for a bit. 90% plus of the float right now for Bed Bath & Beyond stock is owned by retail, so they're basically just trading it back and forth. But it seemed like some of them jumped ship today and last night. But as we know from our other conspiracy studies, we know that as time goes on and more people jump ship from a conspiracy or cult community, those that remain, on average, are more crazy. They're more extreme. They're more fundamentalist, right? It's just kind of how it works. So I am interested the future of these communities as this continues forward.
It was liquidity problems that led to 6th Street becoming the debtor in possession. And so, comparing this situation to AMC, the judge put a hold on, or rejected the request of Adam Aram to do the conversion and the reverse split, saying that he needed to say why it was important on this time scale to do that, why it was, where was the need, and they didn't have a very good answer. But that kind of shows something about how the court system works, and this exact situation shows the need to open up the stage for an injection of liquidity. And where would that come from? Ryan Cohen.
Oh, God. He was so close. It feels like somewhere in there, and the look on his face almost felt like on some level he was grappling with the reality that, like, oh my god, they don't have liquidity, like, they don't have the money to do anything, they had no money to actually do a good, successful reorganization, like, what am I gonna do? I've made a terrible mistake with my money, yada 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 yada. But then, of course, that other part of his brain kicks in. Well, they just need liquidity. Who has liquidity? Ryan Cohen, our Lord and Savior. You can almost see the thought process swerving into reality slightly, listing gently into reality, and then his brain forcing him to swerve back into his delusional conspiracy worldview. It's a really scary thing to see in real time.
Who, if you watched the PP show last night, you saw that Polte said not only that Ryan Cohen is active in the situation and aware of the situation, but also that that if he could invest, he would like to. So it seems that there's two viable injections of liquidity that could be accessed, and this emergency could give the court the ability to move forward with that. And that could be an amazing way into the situation. So I don't know yet, but here's a little bit of hopium for today. And
oh my god, if this is hopium, I'd hate to hear the bad news. Oh, thank you, Peter, for becoming a Patreon member. I really appreciate it. By the way, everyone, this Sunday is going to be a patron-only live show, since I can stream on YouTube again. Again, this Sunday, the 30th, is going to be a Patreon-only live show. So if you'd like to be there, join the Patreon. And it will also give you access to all the previous patron-only streams, except for, I believe, one which got taken down for some reason. I don't even remember the exact reason, but YouTube didn't like it, so they took it down. But the other streams, they're all there.
I'll see you all tonight on the PP show.
I feel bad for Michael. I really do. And it's unfortunate because, like, he is doing things that I think is harmful. I think he's spreading woo-woo nonsense a little bit, but let's be real, he doesn't have a big audience for that. Like I said when I covered him on stream in the stream that was all about him, I think he's a guy who's kind of lost and feels like he doesn't know what to do with his life because he clearly wanted to be a doctor, you know? He went to medical school, he got his MD, made some mistakes, he failed one of his exams, and he never ended up getting placed into residency. And from what I've read, once that happens, and especially as years go by, it gets less and less likely, because residency spots are competitive, you know? So, maybe someday he'll get to do what he wants, but right now, he feels lost, in my opinion. This is just an assessment I'm making completely anecdotally. I do not know this person. I'm not making judgments. It just seems to me that he doesn't really know what to do, so he's latched on to all sorts of conspiracy theories. Like, when we did the stream where we covered him, and he had videos touting all sorts of, like, pseudo-psychology stuff. Like, quote-unquote theories that he had, like, come up with. Giving people... He has a Patreon where he, like, will give you an hour-long, like, dream analysis session and, like, childhood memory something or other analysis. Like, he's not qualified to do that, even with an MD. It's just... I don't know. On the one hand, it's unfortunate that he, like in many cases with either cults or conspiracies or anything that involves magical thinking, MLMs are a good example. The same people who have been victimized often are brought into the system to become tools in order to victimize others. So imagine someone who is a victim of a cult in that they get brought into the cult, but once they're acclimated and become part of the cult, they then also help lure people in. So it's this dual thing of they are a victim, but they are also victimizing. Michael has reasons that I understand why he's gone the directions he has, but at the same time, he's taking part in a show that is potentially keeping people in a situation that's going to lose them lots of money. But Michael's probably going to lose money too. It's just a situation. It's an unfortunate situation. It's really, really fucked up. You have a perfect person to talk about in both Flat Earth, who also believes in conspiracy theories and the Mandela effect. He also does Sovsit views. Okay, who is it? Oh, this is funny. So there have been a lot of, like, AI videos lately. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. And I am not making fun of anyone's addictions. As you know, I've been very open about this on stream. I'm a recovered alcoholic. It's been years since I drank. You know? So I understand addiction. I'm not making light of anyone's addiction. However, I'm hard-pressed to not find this video funny. Batman is going to give us some advice about a problem I'm sure all of you have dealt with. So let's check it out.
I stand before you. Fight.
Again, I understand there are people who really probably have impulse issues when it comes to sexual material. I do find it funny imagining the kind of person who struggles with that problem and the only thing that helps them is listening to Batman give them a pep talk, though. That's pretty interesting.
It is an internal struggle, one that...
I should point out to you, this is not a one-off. I'll show you once we're done with this video. there are multiple different channels making Batman helps you get over porn addiction videos, just so you know.
That bring you joy.
Oh yeah, the advice isn't bad. And I just want to point out too, I'm not above cringe. I think I've said this before. I've, in times when I really needed it in the past, not in a decent while, but some time ago, there are like YouTube videos that'll like have it's not characters like this Batman, but like, you know, like a friend or something says nice things about you, or like reaffirms your identity or stuff like that. So I get that kind of video. It's just funny to me that it's Batman. Batman helps you porn addiction. So there's one video, there's another one, there's another one. There's another one. This one's Batman Beyond helps you quit watching porn. That's very specific. They're like, no. I don't trust Bruce. Where's Terry? Terry needs to tell me to stop whacking it. So there are no fewer than 4 videos on the internet where Batman tells you, you know, to quit watching porn. So that's cool. He's like 16. I mean, right now he's negative years old since it takes place in the future, so. You signed up for Arrow video streaming platform and I came across a Batman porn parody, Bat Pussy. Oh, here's just a cringe, like, red pill divorced dad chud.
Hello, children. All right, we have a request, kind of interesting request, but not nothing I don't think most of us already know.
The name of this video, by the way, is White Men Should Abandon Woke Corporate America.
And I know this guy's in an interesting situation. Hi, Aaron. Hope all is well. This could be a field report, public video response rather than a private email. However, please do not mention anything like that. Okay, cool. For ease of reading, you could disclose all of the above. Recently, I came across a consulting advertisement aligned with my desired next career move. The job requirements were 1.5 pages long, including over a decade of experience in a particular field, specific certifications that are expensive to acquire, multilingual ability, have to speak multiple languages, all of which I possess. I was excited. However, the advert concluded with reasons to work for us. There's only one reason: you pay me more than the other guys. That's it.
Sure, I would agree. I assume you're just gonna be mad that it says, like, we have a diverse culture, and you're gonna be mad about that?
Pay me more. You pay me my time, you give me money. That's it. Here we go. Reasons to work for us, stating 76% of our managers are women. Done. For one fact only right there, you have an erroneous value system that will not result in anyone who wants to work hard succeeding. You put
Oh, God. Why is it always the implication that if women have a job, they must have gotten it? Like, it must have been a diversity hire. It must have been whatever. Have you considered that it just so happened in this case that those managers were the best people for the job and the company is just not shitty about determining who to hire based on gender or race or whatever? Like, this happens all the time. Like, I always get this from people who are against when there's, like, some sort of parody, parity, not parody, by the way, parody, where, like, how many businesses throughout history have had, 100% male managers, and he says nothing. But there's one place there seems to be more women, for whatever reason, don't know why. He assumes it must be evil. They must not have deserved it. There must be more deserving men who are better for the job, because of course there are, because men! It's insane, man. You just sound like a douchebag.
put politics, in this particular case, gender, which is also discrimination and bigotry, or sexism in this case, ahead of excellence.
Again, women are not allowed to have excellence, okay? Only men.
Done. I'm not gonna look. How many times have I said this before? Corporate America was already a shit show. It was already nepotistic, cronyistic, corrupt. It wasn't.
It's fine to point out that corporate culture is fucked up and does everything in its power to take away agency from workers. That's fine, and they're shitty and dehumanize their workers. But, like, this is the opposite of a thing you should be mad at. This is trying to correct a problem by being clear that, like, this is an office where we're not going to deal with bullshit. We're not going to put up with, like, sexist bullshit. I would assume it also mentioned, like, maybe anti-racist shit. I don't know. A lot of people want that. This guy is literally a divorced individual, by the way, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with being divorced. But he's got what they call divorced dad energy, in that his divorce was clearly not something he wanted to agree to, and I assume, in my opinion, he was the problem, and now he's bitter against all women, and just society in general for not catering to him wanting to be a piece of shit.
Bureaucratic. It was middle school. It was still a popularity contest. It wasn't worth it before. Now with everyone's hard on, now with everyone's hate boner against white males, because
everyone's hate boner against white men, a very real thing that definitely exists.
Popular. Oh my God, women. No. And unless those women were actually meritocratically hired, not diversity hires.
Why are you starting off with the assumption that they're not the best for the job? Does that maybe tell you something about your feelings about women? You're this close.
Not affirmative action hires, not leg up hires. Those are going to be your leaders. And if all they know is vagina.
I'm sorry, what? Galaxy Expion with a $2 super chat posts a link. I can't see it in chat for some reason, though. Can you post? Maybe I can do this. I don't know. Can you actually post links on YouTube? In YouTube chat? I don't think it's going to show it because I don't think it's set so you can post links. Shit. Can you put the link on Discord? If you put the link on the Discord, like, general chat, then I can take a look at it. Or if you tell me the name of the video, I'll just search it. Whichever.
No, I'm not working for you. It's not leg up hires. Those are going to be your leaders. And if all they know is vagina.
That's women. You know how all women be knowing about is vagina. Oh, that's going to get sampled. What was that, man? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? What are you gonna do with your life? I'm gonna get what I want. That's an old reference. Let me check the general chat to see if that got posted. Or has it been sent? Ba-ba-ba. Shoes. Oh, people got it. Good.
No, I'm not working for you.
Guys, don't you know women are only capable of knowing vagina and eating hot chip and charge they phone? Here's the title, Even Male Animals Are Sick of Females by Sandman. Oh my god. Oh my god, look, it's me streaming. Even male... Well, I'll just look who it is by. Sandman. Oh god, it did and man. There we go.
Huh?
Thank you. Oh god. We'll maybe take a look at it later. If we don't, I will bookmark that specific video and we'll cover it soon if we don't cover it today. Where was the thing we were watching? Here it is.
It's already a nightmarish headache to work for an employer in a corporation, which is why I recommend everybody, white male or not, my team, yeah, do your time in corporate America. Yes, work for the Big Four. Yes, go get Goldman Sachs or Facebook or whatever on your resume. But the hell if you hang your hat there. The hell if you do. It says the current zeitgeist or the current popularity, like in my day, it was popular that the girls would poof their bangs and men would roll their jeans. And after a couple more years, it was the popular thing to suck on a pacifier. You don't believe me? Go look it up. Gen Xers, when they go nightclub, would suck on pacifiers.
Like if you're at a rave and you're rolling on fucking E. You act like that was like some sort of like fashion that people wore to the office. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's the same equally stupid fad to hate white guys.
Honestly, those were three things that don't belong in a category together. Even the first two examples I don't think were analogous. The first one was general style stuff. The second one was rave drug party fashion. And the third was a misinterpretation of other groups of people other than white men having representation. Like, holy shit. This is so far off. Do you guys understand what I meant now by divorced dad energy? Just mad, just angry.
Because it's not that they're the most wealthy. That would be Asian guys.
What are we doing?
It's because as a group, they hold the most amount of wealth and make the most amount of money. And I don't even think they own the most amount of wealth because men die, or I think it might be white women in this particular country. That's why they have the most income to tax as a definable group. The largest percentage of the half the sex of the population. That's why. All right. So now everyone else can play the victim game. It's not that I got laid and pregnant at 14 and had 5 more kids and majored in African history that I'm poor.
Don't you just love when they just make up hypothetical people that don't exist because their arguments don't make sense otherwise? Lovely.
It's because of Thaddeus McThaddeus. Do you want to work for that firm? Regardless. Then, yeah, we're 3/4 of the leaders are women. Yeah, no. No. Are we gonna get to work, or are we gonna talk about our feelings? I'll be perfectly honest.
Why do people not like me? Sir, have you considered that maybe, just maybe, you're an asshole? Just saying. Just saying. Maybe if you'd talked about your feelings a little more, your wife wouldn't have left you.
I'll disclose
Just a
right.
thought.
Are we working? Are we gonna have like struggle sessions? Can I be forthright and blunt? Am I allowed to make a funny joke to my buddy?
What do you consider a funny joke? What do you define funny joke? Because I feel like your definition of funny is just, isn't everyone who's different terrible, and aren't women only things that we fuck and have no respect for? That's not funny. You're just an asshole. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're white or a man. You're a prick. You're a piece of shit. Jesus.
Are we allowed to hang out socially? Or are you gonna shove your feminist Nazi ass up my ass?
Feminist Nazi. Those things are mutually exclusive. Don't know if you know that. Nazis weren't real big on feminism. Don't know if you know that. They were very much for German women being traditional German women for Deutschland, you know? Stay at home and pump out a bunch of Nazi kids was their role in Nazi Germany.
Or fist up my ass. And want to know everything I'm doing outside. Are you going to nag me to death even though we're not married? Absolutely not.
Literally, this just got... I assume this guy just thinks any woman talking to him is nagging him. I got this impression when I was on the PP show, by the way. Like, since I'm trans, you know, I have a unique perspective on gender stuff. When I was on the PP show, holy shit, women get talked to like they're fucking garbage. We get talked to like we're fucking garbage by men who don't respect us. Really interesting stuff. Weirdly affirming, but also shitty. Genuinely, just fucking awful. And they called me hysterical and said I never let them talk, but when you listen back to it, they talked most of the time. They yelled at me. It's very interesting, the perspective these people have.
I could not bring myself to apply for the role, and they missed out on an exceptionally talented individual.
I think they dodged a bullet on that one.
Because I know who you are, and yeah, employees are our best asset. Let me tell you something, corporate America. They're your only asset. Because, yeah, I know you got physical assets like computers and machinery and cars or whatever else, but they don't
Capital.
work without the humans.
The means of production.
And they're completely fungible with all the other assets that are manufactured off the assembly line. Nothing. All of your production boils down to your people. That's it.
It's so funny that this guy probably thinks everything he doesn't like is communism/Nazism because he doesn't know the difference. But also right now he's describing that workers are what make the economy function and therefore should be treated better by corporations. Gee, I wonder where those ideas might lead if one weren't stuck up with many mental blocks surrounding all sorts of shit.
And if you want to hire lower qualified or inferior candidates because of traits, good luck to you.
Again, you're assuming that. Like, I get it. You would think in, like, a perfect world, things would be like 50-50, but that's just not how statistics work. Sometimes there's going to be a lean one way or the other. So if out of all their management happens to be 70% women, that doesn't mean they passed up men. 30% are still men. It just means out of the candidates that they interviewed for those jobs, 70% who the best candidate for each position 70% of the time happened to be a woman. Like, I don't understand, because even if you imagine, let's say it was some sort of overrepresentation. Okay, well that would still mean 50% were good, right? By your own standard. I don't even understand the internal logic, is my point. Like, is he arguing that it should be 50-50? Because that's the generous interpretation. Does he think it should be 70-30 the other way? Does he think there should be no women managers? It's just... I'm not even clear his criticism, other than understanding it through the lens of he assumes that it is impossible for a woman to be the best candidate for a job 70% of the time in any context. And that's interesting to me.
Good luck to you. And it should be made very apparent or very clear to anyone being discriminated against in this particular day and age, white men.
God.
If they're going to do this literal racism and sexism and bigotry, discrimination, whatever, all under...
It's racist and sexist to not give me extra points because I'm white and a man.
Work for them. Absolutely not. It would, and one, because they're discriminating against you, so there's that obvious thing. But then it's not a meritocratic place. It's not sane. Forget merit.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that capitalism isn't a meritocracy?
It's not sane.
Women getting hired isn't that, sir. I agree that our economy is not a meritocracy. I understand that. But you're acting as though it's a matriarchy. Psycho.
Like, what? Remove identity politics from it for a moment. What if it's like, well, this happened like you're part of the family. Why are you going to our after work corporate events? Because I have a life. But we're family. Oh, those are the ones you got, those cultist corporations, those ones you got to look out for. Or we're donating money to the environment and we're doing this and we're doing that. It's like, can we just do our freaking jobs and go home? Would you want to work for that type of corporation? Probably not.
That has nothing to do with your weird anti-feminist shit.
Corporate America 30 years ago might have been the place you want to work, and I would even argue then it wasn't working. That is not the case today. Today is why we have the 1099 superior race. This is why we advocated here over at Cappy Cap Land. You should be aiming for becoming self-employed, part of the 1099 superior race. So you're not
fucking yikerinos
working at these nightmares of corporations where they have long abandoned any, at least in theory,
it's a wild approach,
universally offered opportunity of hard work will pay off, which even then it was dubious.
It has always been dubious. That has always been pretty bullshit in corporate America throughout the 20th century.
Now,
unless you're in a union, things were better. But if you're not in a union, you're fucked.
It's like they're just being, oh, well, only hard work will pay off if you're of this type of... No, bye. And you see it. Would you like to work for Twitter? Where they just came in and get bought out and half the people are fired? Would you like to be working for Disney or Hollywood right now? Do you want to work for Anheuser-Busch? Forget that you get...
Just boycott every company and never work again. That'll work out for you guys.
Laid off. Do you want to deal with these people? Where you walk in after whatever, busting your ass off, becoming a great brewmaster or a chemist, and like, oh my God, you're Hispanic. Can you head up our Hispanic cheerleading department? I really...
Again, we're making up situations for him to be mad at.
Study chemistry. We got a buddy who is Hispanic.
He's a fan of Cowboy Bebop, by the way. Anime hate intensifies.
Study chemistry.
And also Peanuts. Peanuts hate intensifies.
Great. And he just like, can I just make better tasting beer? Or cerveza? No! What an Orwellian nightmare.
It's Orwellian when women are in the workplace and people who aren't white are involved in jobs.
And it is. And it is. And so that's why I'm saying it's over. You know how like Hollywood or California was the cool place to live? They have adult Democrats shitting in the street.
What?
And the Democrat politicians champion it. They're happy about it. Right? That is no longer the...
I remember in California that whole, Give a Turd campaign where they openly encourage people to shit in the streets. I remember that. That was good. That was fun.
80s California where it's cool to be. Remember Wall Street? Remember Wall Street? Now they're just a bunch of people being replaced by computers. They're the douchebag.
Wall Street's always been shitty people, so, like, there's fewer of them. Cool. Unfortunately, that's just going to funnel the wealth into even fewer hands, which is not good, but I don't know.
Makes you still think they're cool when it's like, dude, you were bailed out like I don't know how many times and no one really cares anymore. Right? Corporate America is over. The future, as it kind of always has been smaller, innovative companies. It will be your mid-sized companies if you're looking for your standard, reliable employment who go below the radar, and their marketing isn't, oh my God, black vagina. Ooh.
What is wrong with this man's brain? Oh God, why in the fuck is... Oh my God. These must have been the easiest divorce proceedings in the history of the world. Oh my God. What the fuck? Oh.
Look at this. We got black vagina all over. Do you like more black vagina? I really just wanted to buy a car. I did not come here for black vagina.
No one is talking about that when you go to buy a car. If the first thing you think when you walk into a car dealership because a black woman happens to be working there is that, you're a fucking psycho. No one put that thought into your head. You thought that. That's you. You're the one that put that in your head and then said it. What the fuck is this? How can anyone think this is reasonable? This is pathetic. Come on.
No, I didn't come here for a lesbian black vagina either. I really didn't come here for a...
These are... Did he go into a car dealership and he saw a woman who happened to be black and this was his first thought was, oh my God. Race and genitals, race and genitals, race and genitals. This is his first thought. What in the world is this?
Person, a gender, or a sexual preference. I came here to get a car.
Okay, then get a car and stop thinking about people's genitals, you weirdo.
Preferably one that doesn't ding and nag me to death because I didn't put on my seatbelt.
You don't wear a seatbelt, you fucking idiot! You dumb bitch! You don't wear a seatbelt? Holy fuck. I know we watched it before, so I know it's around. There it is. Let's watch some demonstrations of why you wear a goddamn seatbelt.
First, we'll see what it looks like with belts.
Those guys have it easy. Now that's more like it. I can almost taste the windshield du jour.
Obviously, most of the force is focused either on the chest and head from the steering column, or on the face meeting the windshield and dashboard. Of course, as you can see here, an unbelted child is much more vulnerable, even capable of being ejected from the vehicle.
So maybe wear a seatbelt. Maybe stop complaining about it dinging at you. God damn.
This one I'm
Last thing that goes through this guy's mind before he dies is gonna be the steering wheel.
here for. Here to pick up a burger. No, I don't care that you hire a lot of gay people. That's nice. That's nice. I really just want a fattening, tasty, heart-clogging burger. Can you do that for me? No, you can't because no one's working anymore. They don't have ice cream at Sonic. They don't have French silk pie at Perkins, but by God, we have a diversity and inclusion page. Go work at the mid-sized local regional employer. Get an invaluable skill. Be a contractor so that when they can't find the critical people because they're just bowing down at the altar of Baal, but it's in the shape of a black vagina. All right, you're not. They
I absolutely know what his porn history looks like now.
can come up to you there. We need you to make the money. We have nothing but a bunch of people bowing down at the altar of black vagina. We don't even know how these machines work. We got contracts to fill. We don't know what we're doing.
Again, the implication being he does not think anyone who is not white and a man, and straight, I guess, is incapable of performing jobs. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Okay, that'll be $250 an hour, 1099 form. Okay. Have fun at your diversity and inclusion meeting.
He genuinely, this is like sad to see. He thinks he's desperately wanted. Like, yes, this seems like a high-functioning individual that I want in my company. This is a sexual harassment lawsuit waiting to happen. Also, just seems like an absolute asshole. Who would want to work with this guy?
No, I don't come into the meetings. That's where it's going to be contract. Oh, they're going to have to. I forecasted that before.
Yeah, his disregard for safety's fucked. Oh, shit! Holy fuck, Sassy P does a $100 super chat and says, "Did women take over the world while I was sleeping? Cool, who is this guy?" Jesus, thank you so much for that crazy fucking super chat. Appreciate it so much. This guy's name is Aaron Clary. He's like a weird MGTOW guy who's just the cringiest. God damn. Is that a made day? No, because super chats are like bits. Super chats are analogous to bits.
Forecast this even before. All your major brands are just going to be brands. And they're going to outsource everything. I use Target as a perfect example. They're the most woke corporation ever. Do they make their stuff? No. Do they market their stuff? Not even really that. Are they in accounting?
What's a made day? Oh, God. If I get either a level 10 hype train on Twitch, or if I get $100 cumulatively in, like, direct PayPal tips, then I do a day where I wear the cat maid outfit that I have that has, like, cat ears and shit. It's embarrassing. So it's a reward.
Powerhouse? Not really. They got internal accounting. They got people that stock shelves and a real estate holding firm. And all they don't sell, they don't deliver it, they don't ship it. They just house it. And that's going to be all corporations. They're going to outsource all the fundamental core production aspects of their company to independent parties. And that'd be you.
That's not going to happen. Fundamentally, a corporate structure couldn't exist like that. What are you talking about? Also, generally being a contractor is worse for people who should be employees because it doesn't provide benefits. It also doesn't provide your employer paying payroll taxes. Like, it's not ideal for most situations.
The 1099 contractor. And only the truly stupid, dumb, moronic idiots that still believe in this. I'm a
contractor, for the record, so I know what I'm talking about here. Like, there are downsides to being a contractor. There are great things, too. I get to set my own schedule. I have no direct boss. That's great. That's fine. There are benefits, and I'm glad I am, but just the idea that it's good for everyone is absolutely absurd.
Power boss, girl boss. I'm a corporate like I'm an MBA. Those assholes are going to be stuck sitting there in diversity and inclusion meetings and bowing down to the altar of lesbian black vagina Baal.
Why is he still doing this? And he included Baal this time? What the fuck?
You guys can just get on your day. Do your thing. So his questions. My question is, please consider your essay, Let Women Have Corporate America. Let them. Look, it wasn't fun working. All the women want to do the work, and we stay at home and be house husbands. Fine.
You are not going to find a woman who wants to spend any amount of time with you if this is your personality and worldview. Like, I'm not even saying that as a joke. I'm not saying it to be mean. This isn't an argument. It's just a statement of fact. With this attitude, no woman will want to be around you voluntarily. You are a scumbag. You're a misanthrope, an asshole, a misogynist, a racist. Like, you just seem like a psycho. Quite honestly, you seem super self-involved, and it's really weird.
I'm done.
I wish I could divorce this guy.
I'm done. It is all... Right? Let him... You want to be the corporate C? You go be the corp. They even... Now, it's a meme. Got to double check, make sure this is true. The former CEO of Xerox, I believe, quoted, double check, that like, oh, I just outsourced raising my children. Have fun with that. Have fun. You have fun. You guys remember Marissa Meyer? She had a daycare cradle made for her child in her office so she could work and the kid would be there. Gone fishing, boo-ba-doo-boo-doo-boo-doo. I ain't working anymore. Gone fishing, boo-ba-doo-boo-boo. You promoted, not me, but the whore.
Is this what I sound like when I make a reference that people don't understand? Because holy shit, I am so confused.
She had herself some vag. I had a better degree. You looked her up and down, said we're hiring her. Not me. Gone fishing. Ba 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 ba. Well, what's GDP going down? What?
The GDP is actually higher. They just released the number and it was higher than they expected, I thought. It's an old Bing Crosby song. That's unfortunate. I'll check the DM on the Discord. I don't know if I can play this. You guys can't see it right now. I'll look at it real quick and see what it looks like. Yeah, I can't show that. I can't show that. For sure.
Why aren't they making profits at the Disney Corporation? I don't know. Have more.
Probably because of their bad business decisions. Putting a ton of money into a bunch of projects like The Little Mermaid and other live-action remakes. Decline in interest of the Marvel films. Poor management of the parks. Putting all their money into streaming and using it as a loss leader even though they can't really afford it. Like, there's a lot of actual business reasons that Disney isn't doing well as a lot of people in Hollywood. I don't know if you've noticed, they're not doing great. And none of the reasons are feminism or being more inclusive. The reasons are because corporate managers made bad decisions.
More,
I've not seen Gallivant, no.
What's not clowns? What the hell? The drag people. Have them show up at Disney some more. Sing them more songs. Read them more books.
Disney had the greatest profits ever last year. It's interesting. Their share price is down, but that's definitely because of the strike. Forgot the word strike for a second.
There wasn't enough interracial, not straight kissing in your latest kids movie. Let's do it. More. Now yell at your audience. And you want to...
Rat Daniels, thank you so much for a $4.99 super chat.
Be a part... Not you. You obviously dodged that bullet. I'm saying anyone. Anyone. Black, Hispanic, male, female, straight or not. My team, my guys and gals. Do you want to go through that night? Would you want to work at Disney right now?
It's weird that does he actually, I can't tell if he actually thinks he's being inclusive by being like, Black, Hispanic, whatever, be on my side. Like, you literally just spent the last, 20 minutes degrading women and non-white people. Why would anyone want to consider you on their side, quote unquote? Like, the fact that you think it's impossible for people different than you to be successful and competent is damning to you.
No. Go work as a bartender. Go be a quiet, mild-mannered accountant. Go do a Chad Elkins. Go do any, but no. Come on, downtown where parking is as expensive and all the action is, and maybe you get stabbed. No.
Nice lemon squeezy.
Oh, step over all the Democrat adult poop in the street? No.
Only Democrats poop in the street. It's part of the agenda is to poop in the street, clearly.
Is the shine shining off? You'll see what I'm saying here? This is like a 58-year-old woman still thinking she's hot. She's putting on that leopard sequin dress.
Have you considered that women don't wear everything they wear in order to attract you, and that in fact women wear clothes because they like them? Have you considered that you're not that attractive? Like, and I'm not even specifically talking about looks, I mean as a human being. Your own wife didn't even want you. Why do you think any other woman would?
My question is, consider your essay Let Women Have Corporate America, which is more aimed at young men embarking on their career, I think.
Alright, I think we have had enough of the weird Chud guy. I have him saved, so we can look at him again in the future sometime. Oh, this is just a weird video. This is Bernie Sanders in 1988 interviewing kids at a mall.
Okay. We're now talking to two young people from South Burlington.
Hold on, this is definitely hard to hear. I had to turn this up when I listened to it earlier.
Burlington. We're now talking to two young people from South Burlington.
Burlington.
All right, one from Burlington. What is your name?
Michelle.
Michelle, and your name is? Mike Blair. And Mike, you're from South Burlington. Michelle, you're from Burlington. Well, let me start off by saying it's an interesting hairdo.
Thank you.
Lipstick is also very interesting. The color screen will focus in on it. It seems to be a black. Is that right? All right, so let me ask you the obvious question, all right?
Mm-hmm.
What does your dress mean? What does it say, or does it mean anything, or what?
It's just basically saying, to heck with society, to heck with law and order. Well, it's not so much law and order.
Teenagers. Smith Black with $5 says Bernie's been in his 60s for 40 years. I don't think he looks in his 60s anymore.
But
saying to the mayor to heck with law and order?
It's just basically saying that you can do whatever you want to do and it doesn't matter. I can be punk rock if you want to say. I don't like the way society's run.
Okay, well
it's not that everybody.
It's so cute because you can tell there's angst. There's angst, but it's not articulated. Oh.
Plastic.
All right, and all right, talk about that. What specifically? What are the aspects of that society that you don't like? How would you like to see it change?
People are not open-minded enough. They think that in order to be stable in society, you have to have money. You have to live in a suburb.
I wonder if these kids are still, like, you know, all right as adults, or if they turned into chuds. That would be a shame.
Have to do the set things, such as have so many people over for dinner a night, a week, or you're not socially acceptable. You got to dress a certain way to be socially acceptable. And I don't believe in having to belong to anything to be a person. I can do basically what I want with my appearance, with my attitude, and it doesn't matter.
Okay, well, that's a good statement. I appreciate that. And would you like to add to that? Well, about the dress, it shows the way you feel, you know? Like, people wear black because they're not feeling too good about what's going on around them. Like, some of the stuff that goes on in the society, you know, is basically baloney. And,
oof,
like,
harsh words, man!
goes on in the society, you know, is basically baloney.
Oof, calm it down! Ooh, is this incitement? God damn! This guy's spitting fucking fire here. He's the next fucking Robespierre. Some of the stuff going on in society, it's basically baloney. Woo. So cute.
And, like, people say that the democracy is so truly
check Discord, I sent you the goths are grown up. Thank you, I'll check it out in a sec.
And, I mean, that's fine, but the way we're living in this democracy isn't a true democracy. And, like, everybody's always complaining about depression and such. Well, that's going to happen in the democracy. It's natural, because if you have a democracy, there's going to be capitalists. And
it would be hilarious. I know this isn't the case, but it would be funny if this was the moment where Bernie was like, yeah, fuck capitalism, man. This kid convinced him. I know that's not true. Senior Driller, thanks for a $5 super chat.
Like, I guess that, I mean, they shouldn't
This is a bunch of baloney.
Complaining because that's what they asked for, you know?
What kind of society would you like to see?
Well, I'm kind of an anarchist, but communism doesn't bother me, like a true communism where it just goes to, like, no freedom of enterprise, because then everybody gets a chance to live and be safe, you know? But when it goes as far as cutting down people's freedom of speech, you know, that's not, I don't feel that's right.
You're distinguishing between what you mean as true communism as opposed to what exists, say, in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marx's idea of communism was a lot different than what they have it now. I'm kind of an anarchist too, but I don't believe in total anarchy because then we're just going to kill ourselves. I just don't like the way it's run now.
How do you feel society can be changed?
I think she's confusing anarchist with nihilism.
Well,
all right.
If we could go into the archives and see what the government's really been doing for the past, I don't know how long, many years, then we'd all be pretty appalled and sickened by it. Because we think we're so free, we think we're so democratic, everybody has a say. We're just as imperialistic as the Soviets are, if not more.
Fucking true! I mean, that is absolutely true. She's right about that one.
We're the ones that go into the other countries and we start wars. What really scares me is that we've never had a war in our own country. We don't know what it's like. We push our luck. Maybe one day we will get
within living memory, she probably should have said.
Invaded. Then maybe we'll know what it's like.
Okay. Also, with communism and democracy, like, one government always makes the people in its country feel that the other government's trying to impose on them, when that's not really true. They just want to be the way they want to be, and we should just want to stay the way we want to, and not try and spread our beliefs onto someone else.
Okay. So what did you guys think of your own high school education?
The education itself was good. I'm going to college now, which is also good.
What college are you going to?
Community College, Vermont. But the environment is not the best. A lot of blackballing goes on. If you do one thing wrong, well then you're considered throughout the whole year, throughout your whole stay there, as a bad person. I don't know. It's odd. And if you dress radically, then you're...
Oh, thanks for the $5 super chat. Bernie's been cool for years. He's the only politician I've ever really felt believed in something that's bigger than himself. Respect him.
Radically, right?
Respect him a lot. I assume that was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Can we say that?
Yeah.
That's a fair statement.
If you don't dress like everybody else, then they automatically think.
This was 88. March 5th, 88.
There's something wrong with you.
Also,
they send you away.
Yeah, and with school, like, the education part is fine, but they do so much programming to everybody to make them feel like teachers will poke fun at me a lot, you know. I'm not going to mention any names because they probably wouldn't be too pleased if they heard about that. But they specifically point out at me that, like, I'm trying to ruin their government. I don't care what they do. I just want to live the way I want to live, you know?
Okay, well, thank you very much for your forthright views. Okay, see ya. Thank you. Okay.
Oh, I like her jacket. I'd probably wear that now on stream. That's cute.
Okay, the next person that we've kidnapped here off the streets for a few words is Jody Baggerly.
Okay, let's take a look at them more recently. This video was from 3 years ago. Bernie's brother tried to become an MP in the UK and was in a very bad music video during COVID. Oh no!
Hi, welcome back to Channel 17. We have a treat here today. We've had Mike Blair, Mall Punk, join us. When we found him after seeing the video clip and seeing that there was a lot of interest in that, and today
I get the feeling he probably has pretty similar political views today.
Mike...
It's just a guess, though. I don't know if I'm psychic or what, but I just have a feeling.
Was recently contacted by...
Michelle.
Michelle. Awesome. And Mike, I just want to talk to you because you're wearing the Bernie shirt, and you've now started a Twitter feed called Mallpunk.
Right.
Were you involved in the campaign?
Oh, I currently am volunteering.
Yeah.
I'm a volunteer texter from home.
Yeah.
So I'm doing what I can.
Yeah, and so were you already involved in the campaign before you did the interview here?
I wasn't before I did the interview.
Yeah.
But then I also didn't know that you could actually just volunteer from home.
Yeah.
Which makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're able to connect with a lot of people, and there's been a lot of people who've said, oh, I can volunteer from home?
Yeah.
So it's growing.
Cool. And so let's welcome Michelle. We have Michelle here on Skype. So hi, Michelle. Welcome. Hi. Where are you right now?
Kingman, Arizona.
Wow. And tell us, like, how did we find you, or how did you find us?
Well, it was kind of interesting. Out of the blue, somebody sent me a message via Facebook Messenger, and I didn't even know who sent me the video, quite frankly, because, you know, people send, you know, their profiles don't often have their actual name, or sometimes don't have their actual name, so I had no idea. It was just some random weird name on there. Sent me this video, so I clicked on it and was like, oh dear God. So young, oh my gosh. I'd forgotten I did the interview. Honestly, it was so long ago, and that, you know, made me think, oh my gosh, I need to get a hold of Mike. This is awesome. And it was a lot easier for me to find Mike because, well, he stayed in Vermont, and I knew he had stayed in Vermont, and, well, you know, his name didn't change when he got married.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're doing well. That's cute. Okay, what next? Oh, God. Here's a lady talking about how much she loves mall walking.
I walk the shopping malls. I start where I park my car. I get out of the car and I close the door and I do some warm-ups, you know. This may seem very silly to you, but I warm 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, and then.
Bear in mind, this video is from 1987, so the answer to your question might very well be cocaine.
That gets my heart pumping so that I have enough oxygen that flows up into the brain. And some people may think this is silly, but I really don't. I want to tell you that it really helps keep me in shape. Why, I used to walk with the Sierra Club, and the Sierra Club walked in all of the parts around Los Angeles and everything, but they walked...
But fuck the Sierra Club. I hate them now. They banned me.
The rain.
They said I was too intense. Do I seem too intense to you?
And then I read an article...
Why is she blinking so much? Why are you blinking so little? You like dry-ass eyeballs? What's wrong with you?
In a magazine, I don't remember which magazine, but I read an article about people who are allowed in the shopping malls, like at 7 o'clock in the morning, before they come to work. And they get in and they walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. And so I joined that. So I became a happy walker girl. And I even made up a song. If you don't think it's silly, yes.
You could tell the person was like, do you want to sing it?
I am a happy walker girl. I love to hike the malls. And as I go, I love to stop and shop and shop and shop. You know how good. Velvery, Velveros. See, I have a lot of lung power. Velvery.
This woman must have been unstoppable.
Velvery, Velvery, Velvery. I love to stop and shop. The combination of both makes me feel better. It makes me feel wonderful.
I so badly wish there was a second camera capturing, like, the cameraman's expression, because I gotta imagine he's trying not to crack up.
And I would like to show you what I bought today. It's something that I bought just for myself, something to be good to myself with. It's a pit helmet. It'll be the...
Come on, man! At some point in the future, do I travel back in time and become an 80s mall walker? What the fuck?
Symbol of the happy hiking girl. And when I get more
She must be protected at all costs.
people interested, I'm going to have my own newsletter. The pith helmet will be the symbol of happy hiking girls walking through the mall, shopping through the mall. You may think it's not silly. It's wonderful. It's something that you can do for yourself. And if you're a modern woman, this is what you want to do for yourself. You can get out there, get on your own, take your own money that you earn each and every day, and go out and shop and get healthy while you're doing it.
Fuck yes! I am so hyped to mall walk. I literally had a tear. What in the world? Okay. What else? What else we got going on? Oh god, you guys remember Taquan or Taquain? I'm sorry, I forget how to he pronounces it. So if you haven't seen me cover this guy, this is an individual that goes on YouTube and basically tries to tell people how to commit fraud, allegedly. He basically teaches people to do the quote-unquote CPN thing, which is really a scam. You're basically stealing either people's social security numbers or unused social security numbers. It's called synthetic identity fraud. Basically what he does is he, long and short, teaches people how to get credit cards and bank accounts or loans, car loans, whatever, with fake information by creating synthetic identities. Which is illegal. Don't know if you know that. He tells people basically to open credit cards, run them all the way up, and then just abandon them and take the stuff that you bought with it and sell it. Like, he tells people straight up to commit fraud, basically, allegedly, and get credit cards fraudulently, buy a bunch of, like, iPhones with them, then just dump the card, and your name, according to him, isn't connected to it because you're supposed to be using this synthetic identity, and then you sell the phones or whatever to make money. Anyway, he thinks he's being watched by the FBI now. So, who could have predicted that? Was it me? Was it me? Also, it's a really good idea if you think you're being tracked by the FBI to make a video about how you're probably being tracked by the FBI.
Let's get to it. Yo, so, I got a client of mine, right, that I've been dealing with for, I want to say, about 6-7 months, right? And so pretty much the first time that my client had bought the full package, the EIN package. Not the EIN, I want to say all of my packages, how to cancel contracts, how to get out of state, how to get out of contracts with the state, how to become a state national, and etc.
Bullshit sovereign citizen stuff.
So, when I first met the person, they was nice, they was friendly, they was cool or whatever. So, he ended up sending me the money, right? So, he ended up telling me that, hey, I play professional basketball and, whatnot, right? So at that point, I really, didn't have any thought of it. Like, oh man, that's cool, because, I bumped into a few basketball players who contacted me personally. It was a football player. It was a football player who contacted me, right? So me and the guy end up talking, we've been talking for a minute.
You find out about some football player in the NFL getting caught for tax fraud. It's probably the guy you mentioned here.
But he told me he lived in Miami, right? So the guy had a spot in Miami that he said, and he also had a spot in Chicago, right? So I ain't thought
places with FBI field offices.
Much of it, man. Him grew a good relationship, a good bond, right? And so, let me fast forward it. I ended up meeting the guy one day, and we met each other. We was talking, and so when we first started talking, he started getting into a sob story about his family and everything like that, and it was deep. But one thing I started noticing, right, is it was a couple factors that I knew something was going wrong. It's because when I first met you, you start telling me everything. Like, you start spilling everything, like your thoughts, how you feel, or whatever the case might be. And he was a good guy, he was cool. So we ended up splitting ways. We was cool, so I stayed in contact with him. This is the same guy who say he know a female who's a state's attorney, right? So I never thought much of it, right? So there's been plenty of times, hey man, come down to my condo, we can talk, or we can, have a drink or whatever. I don't drink. I said, no, I'm good. So he was like, okay man, when you trying to meet up or something? Let's talk business. So I'm like, real soon, right? So I ended up meeting up with him like a month ago, right? We played pool and everything, right? So it gets to a point, he showed me a Lamborghini, right? He showed me a Lamborghini on the picture, right? So he was like, man, I bought a Lamborghini, then he came back another week later, he said, man, I bought another one. I'm like, okay, this brother doing good things in life, right? And so when he was showing me stuff, I really didn't thought much of it. But then I ended up getting the software, right? Now, this is a background checker right now. I can explain how this works. This is a background checker, like it's a public records, right? So I was searching myself up, right, on public records. I wasn't even trying to meddle into other things. I was just trying to search myself up, trying to see what I've been charged with and stuff like that.
A very normal thing to do.
So
Jesus Christ. I want to know so bad how many warrants are out for him. How many investigations is he involved in? Because he has, according to him, done this many times with many banks, including like JP Morgan Chase Like, it's not if he's going to get caught, it's when. This is a kind of crime that, like, the law enforcement takes this very seriously, because you're stealing from banks. They're gonna catch you. They're not gonna stop. Oh, thank you, Densetsu Gojirin? I don't know anime words.
I end up searching a lot of names of people, right? People I do business with, people, everything, right? So it's a brother who I did business with. I ain't gonna say his name, but me and him got a real close connection. He a Hebrew brother, right? So I searched him and he cleared, right? I seen everything about him. Like, oh yeah, he legit. He a real person. So I ended up doing research on the guy who I've been dealing with. He had no public records. So that raised a red flag.
The irony of you, who is trying to set people up with synthetic identities so they have no public record when trying to get loans or whatever fraud that they're allegedly trying to commit. You can't find information on this guy, so that's funny. There's this sort of symmetry, you know? It's beautiful.
So I told my wife, I said, hey, why bro don't have no public records on him? He said he played basketball, he was not in the NBA, but he played international, right? So you still have some sort of...
Ah, yes. International basketball player. I know that exists, but I find it an interesting cover.
Public records. So there is no name or nothing attached to this man. So he has a common name, right? So say my name, I'm gonna name a common name, Michael, right? But what if I say my last name is Rodriguez? Michael Rodriguez, right? Let's just explain it like that. But let's just go deeper in it, right? So he told me his first name is a common name, but his last name is a Spanish name, right? But the first name is common. So if over 2-3 million people got the same name, it won't draw a red flag, right? So if I got the name Michael, how many people in America got the same name Michael? So, I end up searching his name. I'm like, dang, I'm trying to search it up. I don't know why I can't find his name. So I end up seeing a profile that's similar to who he is. So his real name pop up, and he got my last name, right? Williams. So I'm doing the research, I'm studying it.
This guy is so goddamn stupid.
And I'm like, and it matches the description. It said his age, it said his date of birth, and it said all of his relatives' name, right? So he painted a picture like he was from Miami, Florida, but he was actually from Chicago. But I'm finna tell y'all how this whole thing worked. So by him, hold on, let me see something. Okay, so by him telling me that he's from Miami, but all of his connections in Chicago, all his public records only refers to Chicago, but I'm finna show you how it worked. He pretty much, his first name is accurate, but his last name is different. And what he's doing is he's working under an alias name. And that's why I want to explain to a lot of you guys who teach this information. When a lot of people say, hey, meet up with me, you don't know if you're meeting up with a true supporter or an agent. Yes, informants is real. And I can identify an informant easily. I'm going to tell you how I can identify an informant.
It's interesting that his first thought is to go on the internet and explain exactly how he thinks he's figuring out people are quote-unquote informants, which they may or may not be. He might just be paranoid. But let's say they are, hypothetically. If they are, why would you go on the internet and openly say how you're figuring out that they're not real? Because then the people trying to catch you would be able to note that and then decide, oh, well, we can fix that, and then catch him. Like, why would he do this? This is so dumb.
An informant, right? It's a few ways, right? But let me get into the details, then I'm gonna explain how you can identify an informant, right? So I looked at all of his family tree, and all of it lines up with his last name, right? So they showed that he lived on the south side of Chicago, not where he told me. He told me, hey, I live downtown. Now that downtown address, I'm gonna give y'all a little insight. When you're dealing with a federal agent, most of the time, the feds will create not only the fake alias last name and first name, if you got a common name like my name, not an uncommon name like my name, Taquan, I would have to work under a different name. I couldn't work under Taquan Rodriguez or Taquan Miguel because that name is very uncommon. So my name is a little different. But if I had a name like Eddie or Fred or Frank, those are common names, so I can work under any last name. So when I searched his alias name up, it had an alias profile. And what that is when I searched up his first and last name, it showed his downtown address, right?
Hey, Chris.
But let me be a little bit different. This is how another way you can tell if a person's an informant. When they don't have any relative or anybody that linked to them on their public records, that's a red flag. That means that profile was just created, or it's only been created for a certain period of time. It's not an actual public records of you. So the guy I did business with, everybody popped up.
Okay, so now if I'm the FBI, when I start making these fake identities, if for agents or whatever, if that's something I was doing, I would then create several other fake identities that would be family, quote unquote. Problem solved.
His family, his relatives, everyone who he's associated with pops up on public records. And it's very important to know if you're teaching this type of information because you don't know who is who. That's why you always got to test and see what's going on, right? So I told my wife about it. She said, now imagine, she don't understand the system how I understand the system. She don't understand it like that. So you would call them green, right? Green just means unaware or uninformed in a certain, subject. So she was like, why didn't you confront him about it? And I say, for me, I'm not the type of person who will confront anybody about something unless I got full evidence.
Also, her advice was to confront someone that you think is either an agent or informant of the FBI? That's terrible advice.
Evidence means...
Like, what the fuck? Why didn't you just threaten the alleged FBI informant? Maybe because that's extra crimes.
Something that can be disproven, something that has been shown, something that's been thoroughly investigated, thoroughly reviewed, thoroughly everything. So you just couldn't say, oh, this, or you this, you that. No, because you still got to get the evidence. Before you want to go out and say something crazy, or because you might make a mistake, So me, I like to do my homework. So I knew this information a whole 3 weeks before I even confronted the person. So I never said anything because I just wanted to make sure. So I did another go around of the public records of this individual. Still no public records. There's no Google searches, no Bing searches. There's nothing in history that replicates who he is. Then you go to the criminal record. He told me he'd been accused of this crime, he'd been accused of this crime, but he eventually got acquitted. Those public records will still show, even if you got something called expungement. Public records will still show an arrest, a news article, whether it be a small news article or anything, even a local arrest, anything will show up. So I had to take that into consideration, right? So once we get to that, then I look at social media outlets. Who you are connected with, because remember, you told me you are a basketball player. So I checked the roster of that entire team, and there's nothing on that docket that shows that person ever played for that team, right? It's another way. When I look for associates that matches your last name, and no one have it. So you got a weird last name like Rambuski, and there's no associates that replicates that last name, Rambushi, and you're the only one, there's no positive relatives, that's also a red flag. Another red flag is when every time I call you, you will say, hey, I'm going out the state, I'm going out the country, or that's a red flag. Because the goal is that you're not really going out of town. The goal is just constantly be occupied. So that person will come in, out. So an investigation is not always consistent. When an informant comes, they keep everything casual. They keep everything smooth. They keep everything just peaceful. Like, hey, hi and bye.
If the agent's cover is blown, they're probably going to make a move and arrest the guy soon. That is a funny thought. This was posted 6 days ago. Like, in his head, we don't know this is an agent. There's any number of reasons potentially why this person might not have the identity that they say. Maybe they're trying to scam him. Who knows? Don't know. We don't know this is anyone affiliated with law enforcement. But let's say it was. Does he think if he just cuts off communication with that informant, alleged informant, they're going to be like, oh, dang. He got us. Dang it. Like, is he like, you have a house, you have an IP address, because you're posting videos on YouTube, they almost certainly know where you are and who you are. You said your full name in this video. Like, what are you doing? So foolish.
But one thing about an informant, they always want to meet up with you. And most of the time, the feds or the police doesn't have enough evidence to make an arrest. So what they would do is they would hire an informant to work under you. So when he asks, hey man, why would you think I'd do that if I paid you money? Do y'all realize that the FBI brought $1 million worth of real money to a drug trade in order to take down a cartel? You don't think they would spend a couple $1,000s to invest just to see if there's a possible way to prosecute? Of course they would do that. And let me explain this. The FBI is not...
Your channel is literally full of videos of you admitting to your crimes. Do they know about the YouTube channel? Should I report this to the FBI?
What y'all think they are? They not stupid. They not that docile. So everything really takes time. An FBI investigation can last for years depending on the individual. It don't last 1 month and that's it. No, if you're a person of interest and the FBI wants you, 9 times out of 10 they would do a thorough investigation.
The no snitching I think the national no snitching policy applies, like, if someone's at Walmart and they're taking diapers and they maybe need them or food or whatever. This guy's committing fraud on countless people. This isn't like he's doing something innocuous that isn't hurting anyone.
To see...
Like, it's not snitching if you see someone who's a murderer and you, like, turn them in. And this isn't that extreme, but it is harmful to people.
How can we get you? Now, they will hire informants. Informants work for the government, and they also work under alias names. So if someone ever worked for the government, it's a few ways you can catch them. Number one, they're not in public records. And if they is in public records, if they was to ever be exposed, they couldn't work the job again because their identity is already out there. So a person can work for the government, have a public life and everything, but once they're exposed, they'll be out there. That's why usually most government agencies work under an alias name. They work under a fake name. You get what I'm saying? So we have to understand the difference. We just can't be stupid. We can't just like let a lot of things go. So before I get to how you can identify one, I just want to go into detail. So today I confronted that person. Actually last week, but today I confronted them again to be more specific.
Oh God. Oh God.
Last week when I found all the information about that person, I called him. I said, hey man, is your last name Williams? He said, no, that's my father's last name. When I first met him, he told me his daddy's last name is the last name. It's a different last name. I just remembered. That's how you catch a person up with their words. And I asked him, what ID you have? He said, I got a Florida ID. And an hour later, I asked him, send me your ID. He sent me an Illinois driver's license. Now I'm finna break the whole...
I'm really between, is this guy trying to scam him? Is it an investigation or is it competing scammers? I'm really on the fence. Because this could also just be someone trying to scam him in some way. Though I don't know what the hook of the scam would be, so to speak. It could also just be another scammer.
Whole beings, right? When he sent me the Illinois address, the driver's license, it showed that alias address, the one I showed you, and then also he told me he had a Florida Florida driver's license. He don't have a state ID or state driver's license in the state of. He don't have a state or driver's license in the state of Florida. So all the documentation I seen, I'm like, no, look, those not real. Because I know people that make fake IDs. You can put a full name, everything. Y'all listen, it's a whole nother world out there that I don't talk about.
Yes, Chris, this is that guy.
Because I know a lot of spies and a lot of that stuff. Listen, it's a whole nother world I know about. I know about all that. You can make a fake social security card. You can make a fake credit card. Y'all know that, right? You can duplicate a credit card, social security card. You can duplicate a tax return. You can duplicate anything. Anything. And when you're dealing with an informant works under alias name. So remember, an informant has an address. An informant has a credit card under alias name. An informant also have a driver's license or a state ID under that alias name as well. So when they give you a driver's license, you say, "Oh, that's a real driver's license." Okay, but this is under his alias name. And when he working for the federal government, it's going to be messages and disclaimers telling the police anytime they get in contact with this person, get off him because he's working. Especially when you're dealing with organized so-called crime, they just want to see. And some
so-called crime. Yes, credit card fraud and identity fraud is a crime.
When you get investigated by the feds, does not mean that you necessarily getting arrested. So a lot of times the FBI want to scoop information, and I found out that it was an informant instantly. But I had to have the information and the facts. But now let's get over into the ideal of how can you identify an informant. I'm going to tell you how I identify informants. This is number one way you can identify an informant. A lot of times you can identify an informant when they cross up and they cross up in their words. So, or no, let me take that back. When something doesn't add up. When I met him, he told me he played basketball on a professional team overseas. That's one red flag. You put yourself too high. You put yourself way too high. And for you to say that, it got to be something in public records on you. If nothing in public records, you killed yourself. You killed the entire investigation to a person who thinks. Number two, you told me.
You know, the kind of person who thinks and then posts about it and his crimes on YouTube. One step forward, 2 steps back.
When you a millionaire, right? So if you a millionaire, ain't no way in hell your everything in public records just gonna be off. You're gonna have public records. You're gonna have some sort of news article reporting on you. You're gonna have some sort of informational data, right? Number four, another way to tell an informant when he has nothing connected to him. You don't know his wife. You never seen his kids. You never seen a social media account with him interacting with people. You never see him in pictures with other people. That's another step of how you know someone is an informant. Number four, when they say when they don't have no social media accounts, that should be a red flag, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I know some people don't have social media accounts, but let me explain. When you have no social media accounts at all, like you have none whatsoever, but you have a business or a brand, that's a red flag. That's a red flag when you add up all of the circumstances of it. And then when you go more into detail, when you say you own property and you cannot find that in public records, that's another way. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So these are things that's very important to understand. These are things you gotta know. And also when they story not adding up. So anytime y'all teaching this type of information, the people who y'all do business with, always make sure you calculate every step. Always make sure that you have a firm discretion.
Here's Frizzy today.
And knowing who you are dealing with at all times. Do not be foolish to just work with someone just because they might offer you someone, just because they have money, but you also want to know, so you want to investigate that individual. You just don't want to say, oh man, like, yeah, you got money, so let's just work. When the feds finance an informant, they finance good. House is paid for. I mean, house is covered, housing is covered, the look is covered as well. So when you're dealing with cars, they can blame you everything. They'll bring a car around you, a couple $1 million. Yeah, even spend some money with you. Just
if you have scammed enough money from banks that the FBI is going to put that much into resources to get information on you, you are beyond fucked. You are beyond fucked if they're willing to be like, here's, X amount of money and a Lamborghini that we maybe seized from some asshole that you can use for cover for this. if they are doing that, you are fucked. Because if they're putting that much resources into it, they're not just going to be like, oh, darn, he got us. I don't think they'd do that in any case. But especially in this case, gonna guess they'd be pretty persistent in catching you. They will find you. It's like Leslie Nielsen in Taken, you know? I will find you.
Off the strength of an investigation. So when an investigation takes place, they're like, okay, this is what's going on, this is how this is, and then you will know. And like I said, some informants is sloppy, some informants is neat. When anything feels too good to be true, most of the time it is, and that's what gives you a good feeling. Especially come.
Did I say Leslie Nielsen? Liam Neeson? Oh God. That would have been a very different movie.
Not too high. Even if you come off low, because the government would send other people who less than that. It's just some people who now. The flip side, the most dangerous people is those who do have the opposite of what I just explained. They got social media accounts, they got a following, they got...
I have a particular set of skills, and don't call me Shirley.
Connection, they got family, but it also put the informant in danger. So most times they won't hire a normal person to just be an informant unless you cut off all ties. You get what I'm saying? So when I told him that, his response was exactly like I said, stuttering his words. He didn't have a clear direction in his answers, and also getting very agitated because now you busted. Because most federal informants don't get busted. You got some stupid people. You say, hey man, yeah, we just doing this, yeah. Anytime anybody.
Some people are so stupid they post about their crimes on the internet. Who would do that?
Come around me. You can't come around me without me second guessing you. I don't trust nobody besides my family, right? Really.
Except random people on YouTube. I trust them not to share this with the FBI for some reason.
They even got to be tested. You get what I'm saying? So if I would test my own family, I would also test and see the works of a stranger. Because you got to understand, this type of information right here is dangerous, especially when you explain it right. If I was just on here running around the track like most gurus is running around the track saying shit, excuse my language, just saying stuff, or straw man this, but if I'm explaining this stuff in detail, it's a more dangerous thing because now this person is teaching those of a certain light. Okay, he teaching this type of information, he teaching this type of information. So we need to hire someone.
It's already on YouTube.
To get in more just so we can listen in on what he's talking about. And there's a lot of informants out there, y'all. And the one thing about an informant, you don't know who the informant is. I just got to investigate you. So, again, a lot of people who ask me questions to point this link up, I don't know if you're an agent. I told people that on the phone. I said, bro, I don't know if you're an agent. You could be an agent, bro. I don't know you. Like, honestly, I just don't because most people are agents. Oh, a lot of people are agents, bro. Some people are genuine. I agree. I met a couple people on the streets who just seen me off TikTok, and they were saying, hey, right, but I know genuine people and I know people who are agents. Most people are agents, they want to get all in. They want to be your best friend. They want to do this, do that, and that's how. Now, I can't necessarily say that they are agents just because they want to be your best friend. But what I can say is agents usually have an agenda. And when they investigate very carefully and thoroughly. So they don't push on too hard, but they don't push on
agenda?
Too hard. But
I barely know.
There's always a consistency with they stay with you. So one thing about them, they will constantly grow with you. They will constantly build with you. They will constantly analyze the situation.
Yeah, it definitely feels like he's paranoid, for sure. And of course he is. He's committing, like, really, 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 really prosecutable federal crimes. Like, I'd be paranoid too if I was constantly committing bank fraud and identity fraud. Like, he's paranoid because of course he is. He's committed crime and posted about it on the internet.
Because anytime you do something in front of an informant, the goal is to document that and also the wiretaps.
He's paranoid in the same way a cockroach with a boot hovering over them is paranoid. Like, maybe it's a little justified, you know?
The goal is to document that and give it over to the police, give it over to the FBI. Give it over to the federal attorney, whoever prosecuting the case, just to give them more information on what you have against me. Because usually, in any time you're dealing with the Black Panthers, did y'all know they were taken down by an informant? Y'all didn't know that? I'm going to tell you how the Black Panthers was.
Sir, you are not the Black Panthers. You're a scammer.
Taken down. They all was in a circle, and they discovered one guy in the group who was an informant. They ended up setting up a group meeting, and what happened is during the middle of the meeting, they walked up to the informant, stripped his shirt open, and guess what it was? It was a wire right there. You get what I'm saying? So you can't be stupid. The same way you look at a Mexican cartel, informants everywhere. Informants is everywhere. Don't think it's just informants is everywhere. And all informants are not there just to arrest. Most informants are there to collect evidence and information. All informants ain't got enough evidence to make the arrest. If they did, they would have done it. But too many times, you know, with the informant, he gathers enough information or evidence, then they can subject that to
Sometimes, I don't know if you will know this, but sometimes they won't arrest someone or let them know they're under investigation for a while, even if they are, because they feel that they'll be able to collect more evidence while they're out there, you know, doing something stupid. Like, imagine a hypothetical scenario in which maybe one of your informants got called out. Maybe you don't arrest him immediately because maybe, hypothetically, someone would be stupid enough to then go talk about it on YouTube. Just a thought. And yes, informants don't arrest people. They inform. They wear wires. They give evidence. They don't arrest people.
Try to charge with an act of treason. You get what I'm saying? So any informants or any red flags I see or any inconsistencies automatically let you know that that person's an informant. And trust me, if you come around me and I just see something iffy, I'm gonna touch your chest. No homo. You got a wire on you or something like that?
I gotta imagine, I don't know this, but I'm gonna imagine in 2023 they don't have them wear the wires right here. Because that's like the movie stereotype. That's the movie trope. Oh, you're wearing a wire. It's the first place people are gonna check. And technology has gotten a lot smaller since, you know, that trope was started. So you'd used to see, you know, people wearing wires and it was this huge thing and a microphone that went up to here. These days, I imagine it's pretty small, relatively speaking, and I doubt they put it on their person. Like, if the person was a woman, maybe they'd hide it in a purse. If it's a man, maybe they'd hide it in a bag, laptop bag, some other piece of clothing, a hat. I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that in 2023, if the FBI has an informant come to you and try and get information, I doubt they're wearing a wire right here. Maybe I'm wrong, though.
Just how a person talk or how they act, or if they don't have any connections around them, let me know, like, oh yeah, you got to be an informant. You have to be one. You have to be one. Just if you move the wrong way, like say the wrong thing, I would know.
Oh, duh. Plus cell phones. Just use a cell phone. Use a little recorder that sticks in your pocket.
That you are an informant. Just off my experience with the system, just off my understanding of what an informant is, and me also analyzing the individual. I analyze more than I just make an assumption, because one thing about me, I don't jump to conclusions. I'm very careful with my thought process, because you never want to make a mistake of accusing somebody of something that they're not. So even if I gather information on you, I'm not going to say anything until I know it's that, or that you clear. If you clear it, I'm not going to mention nothing to you. Like my business partner, when I ran a search on him, he good. I never said nothing to him. He don't even know. Like right now, he probably know, but he don't know that I checked him up. I checked him out. He good. Him and everybody around.
It'd be funny if the business partner was secretly really the informant.
He is. So I know he's not an informant.
Hey, no justice, no peace. How you doing?
Anytime you want. But a lot of people, I just can't make that verification unless I know for certain that you're not an agent. For certain, anything like that. Especially if I involve myself personally with you, or you end up building a relationship with me, then I'll have to know, like, hey, who are you? You know, who sent you, or whatever the case might be. Some people come off, hey, I'm doing good. No, it's more to it. It's way more to it. And 9 times out of 10, he could have got hired by the police department. He could have got hired by the ATF. He could have got hired by the FBI. You do not know.
Are you selling illegal weapons? Or alcohol or tobacco? Why would the ATF be involved?
You ain't gonna know that.
Or am I unfamiliar? Does the ATF do any kind of fraud investigation? I really don't know. Like, why is he bringing up the ATF?
Informants, it's time for you to get arrested, and you still might not know, because most informants, when they gather the information and when it's time to make the arrest, they just disappear.
I like the ATF because it's kind of just like, you know, an agency that almost feels like the leftovers. Like, there's an FDA, you know? But, like, you just do, I don't know, guns, alcohol, and tobacco. Those are the things you cover. I felt like those were the last people who didn't get picked for a team, so they had to be a team.
You know what I'm saying? They just disappear.
Does this guy have a following that takes him seriously? Enough that this is his job, at least part of it, on top of the scams he already does. He has people pay him to teach them how to do the alleged scams.
When they disappear, you know it's over with.
This video has 3,589 views, by the way.
Yep, they make up whole new identities. And one of the main things, y'all, of an informant, they have no connection around them. They don't have family, they don't have friends, they don't have girlfriends, they don't have social media. All of that, red flag. Red flag. Red flag. I know people right now on the run, and they've been on the run for 3 years. And
that's a good line of work, where you know people who have been on the run for 3 years.
And they got public records. You get what I'm saying? Now, I don't know him personally, but he contacted me one time. It was a guy who was actually on the run from the police. And I searched him up through public records, found everything on him. He got I think a warrant for probation or something. He's in the private for real. He's truly in the private.
Being on the run, being a fugitive is not being in the private. You're a fugitive. ATF might also be investigating because he did admit to being a felon and buying a firearm and telling other felons to buy firearms. Actually, that's true. You're right. I do remember that. I had forgotten.
Now, if Yep. Terrell Barnes, yep, that's exactly what it is. Can't trust no informant. And then if they work through the family, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, y'all. If they work through a family, it's the same thing. That's why you got to be careful for family members. If you just, even by teaching stuff like this, it's still dangerous. It's not like simple. It's dangerous to teach.
Of course it is. You're teaching people crime.
Stuff like this, especially when you are detailed as me when you explain it, because you're giving more clarification. Like the do not detain list. That list was not supposed to be shown to the internet. Just that list.
That list isn't what you think it is. The do not detain list is literally a list of police informants, ironically enough. It's not just for random people who don't want to be pulled over.
Just imagine innocent people just seeing that list. You know how many dark websites I searched on and I found that same screenshot of my do not detain list records? That stuff all over the internet. On Scrib, it's on another website.
Oh my god, did this idiot get scammed on the dark web by someone who claimed, like, oh, give me money and I'll put you on the do not detain list? But in reality, like, he just got scammed because it's the dark web and people think you can do everything on the dark web, but in reality you're probably just gonna get scammed.
That I've seen it on a few websites. Yeah, I'm very careful, but you know, it comes with the territory.
Yes, we've seen him pulled over, and he was pulled over for like an hour because he was trying to do his bullshit, and the cop was just like, okay, and let him go with like a warning, I think, or maybe he got a ticket. Either way, it was like a normal traffic stop, except it took way longer because he was being weird.
And one thing about it, and what makes it dangerous is, it's the fact that I understand it, and I know that he's an informant. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because once you catch an informant, either gigs up or they can make the arrest. That's how it is most of the time. Because once you catch the informant, they know. They're going to send another one, and it's going to be the same thing. But this time, I got to be way more strict on myself. You can't allow a person to come in closely. You can't allow a person to come around. Now, they never came to my house or nothing like that, but it's the fact that even being in the same space speaks value. because most of the time the feds can tag your car. That's why I check under my vehicle for air tags, trackers, or you can look
I don't think the feds are using air tags.
inside the tank.
Though that would be funny.
You gotta be, listen, you have to be on point. You have to. You just gotta know this stuff, y'all. Yeah.
He thinks he's a master criminal.
Yeah, this stuff is real.
It's hilarious.
Yep, this stuff is
Hey,
real,
daughter of
y'all.
Tiamat. How's it going?
This stuff is real, man. Yep, there's a lot of informants out here.
Almost to the end of the video.
People, you know, spying on us for teaching this type of information. But that's why we gotta, you know, wake the people up and let them know that they will face stuff like this. You go around teaching this type of information, they're hiring an informant on you. Oh, hold on, family.
It would have been the perfect comedic timing if during this live stream all of a sudden you just saw like a SWAT team.
Yep. Mm-hmm. They don't never just come naked, just to come. Nah. They don't, and most of the time that's why they have a 99% conviction rate, because they use they go from the inside out. You know, like local police, they might see you with a gun, they might see you walking with a gun and arrest you. That's going the outside in. But inside out, meaning they have to have co-ops that work within to get you, because it's more easier, and then the evidence more consistent, especially when they got Chiu doing crime with the informant. The informant to do crime with you. Remember when the Black Panther was driving around, the guy who was he? The guy who was the informant started the robbery with the Black Panthers, went to the store and robbed the entire store, went through another cut and hopped in the car with the FBI, and the police arrested the Black Panthers for armed robbery. Ain't that crazy? Yeah, like y'all gotta know, like, this system is serious. Like, this game is not no joke. This game is not no joke. Yeah, you can get a patent. You get your home patent. That home and everything, you know, I closed in September, and that's another thing, y'all. Look, so like me getting a home, I can't even talk about that because you got informants. You know, I can't even talk about that. Like which bank is gonna lend to me, or no, I can't talk about it. Can't talk about it at least until I get it and I get a land patent on it. Then I'll talk about it. And we gonna talk a lot about it because I actually got a lot more games to share to y'all about like mortgages and everything like that, on how to get in and everything. It's a long process, y'all. It's a long
Did I
process.
see Skibidi toilet?
Yeah.
No.
So that's my little story for the day. Hope y'all found it informational, because I wanted you guys
I have
to
no
know
idea what he's talking about the patent thing, by the way.
that they is watching and everything like that, and they've been watching me for a minute, and they even hired an informant, but it just won't work right now. If you want to get an informant, use my wife. That'd be one way you can get me. You can get me like that. And not like I don't do nothing criminal, but it's just the fact, like,
they will literally do that. They will literally potentially go to her and be like, hey, we'll give you immunity, or give whatever, you'll get to keep XYZ if you help convict him. Spouses can't be, well, that falls under compelled, right? Can you not offer things to a spouse? Because that's considered compelled. Spouses are not supposed to be compelled to testify against each other. Does that include, like, plea deals? I genuinely don't know.
If your wife
he does have kids, or at least a kid. I think it's 2 kids, though.
trade on you, then yeah, they got you. But if anybody else, like, nah, I don't look at people like that. I don't just, like, you just couldn't come around me and I just sit down and like, hey, no. Like, I have to, you know, analyze situations. So, stay blessed, and I will contact. Yes, sir. If anybody want to contact me for any process, hit me up, 224-463.
I'm gonna stop there. I'm not gonna let him rattle off his goddamn phone number. I'm worried about informants. Also, here's my phone number. Genius. 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 Oh, you guys remember that AJ guy from the Bed Bath & Beyond stream that, like, yelled? Here's a clip from it, I think, if you missed it.
Guys, I'd make your nose fucking bleed if you knew how many shares I had. But I don't give a fuck, because I believe in the company like AJ does. So let's just stay focused on our fucking money, and if it goes, but if not, fuck them.
Judge.
And
Judge.
Four bro, real quick, AJ, Four Bros two with the $2. PP 800 viewers. Holy fuck! AJ's on fire. Something's going on. AJ, keep
Judge,
going, man. The mic's all
the
you.
only reason I bring up these fucks, not because they earned a second of my fucking mental time, but it's because they're spreading fuck that affects my fucking finance and my fucking family's finance. I know for a fact this company has been sold because I fucking read. Okay, I've been reading for a year. Come on this show, like all of us, take advantage of fucking people. It's fucking evil, man. It takes a certain kind of someone like fucking Roche, this disgusting motherfucker, to sit in the fucking darkness for the past 3 months. Where the fuck you been, Roach? Eh? Where the fuck you been when the stock was at 5 cents? I came on the show. I was telling everyone that fucking May 2nd is gonna be the bottom, and guess fucking what? It was the bottom. I told everyone May 3rd. Today's the fucking first day of the squeeze. Go look at the chart. We're 6x above from there, and I'm fucking waiting. This is gonna go 600x from here.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not.
Anyway, we've covered that freak out. He has a new video that was posted like 3 days ago. I don't think he's gonna be yelly, but I am curious what he has to say.
Okay, I'm going to speak slowly so everyone has a chance to really digest what I have to say.
Exciting.
And I want to begin by quoting Holly, Chief Restructuring Officer, Chief Financial Officer, the turnaround god as proclaimed by Glenn himself.
The turnaround god has failed to turn around BBBY, and that is why they are liquidating.
And I want to quote the declaration she provided to the bankruptcy court on April 23rd.
Thursdays I'm doing YouTube streams.
And that's docket number 10.
Just cause I know there are some people who only watch YouTube. So.
Bed Bath & Beyond has pulled off long-shot transactions several times in the last 6 months. So nobody should think Bed Bath & Beyond will not be able to do so again. To the contrary, Bed Bath & Beyond and its professionals will...
I said this when I went on the PP show, and of course they nitpicked the one thing where I accidentally got her title wrong, which was ignorant of me, but it was a mistake, and they didn't listen to the thing I was actually saying, which is Holly works for Bed Bath & Beyond. She is the restructuring officer, so earlier on in the bankruptcy, of course she is going to paint the sunniest picture possible. These optimistic outlooks clearly didn't pan out, which is why the company is dissolving.
Will make every effort to salvage all or a portion of...
It's Thursday, yes? Right? I'm not crazy. Yeah, it's Thursday.
...operations for the benefit...
It's Thursday where I am.
...of all stakeholders. I'm going to read that one more time. Bed Bath & Beyond has pulled off long-shot transactions several times in the last 6 months. So nobody should think Bed Bath & Beyond will not be able to do so again. To the contrary, Bed Bath & Beyond and its professionals will make every effort to salvage all or a portion of operations for the benefit of all stakeholders.
And they failed to do that. They tried, and they failed.
It wasn't just the IP and liquidation. I went back and I read through the entire transcript, the one our electrician ape kindly purchased for us a few months ago.
Jesse Courteous says, "You're amazing," with the $10 super chat. You're amazing. Thank you.
After the first hearing. And I was reading David Hillman's testimony. He's Sixth Street's lawyer. And he did a great job summarizing the financial support that was extended to Bed Bath & Beyond. And this, you know, how this came out on the heels of this retail apocalypse, a global pandemic that permanently changed our consumer behavior. Sixth Street stepped up in August with the FILO loan. And this was just a few days after Ryan Cohen sold his shares. And they provided $375 million in financing.
Super chats don't do MAID. Super chats are like bits. The MAID outfit is either a level 10 hype train on Twitch, which there is an equivalent on YouTube as far as I know, or $100 cumulative tips to the PayPal tip jar. Howard with a $20 super chat says, I love that you're streaming in both locations. Please keep it up. Thank you. Yep, Thursdays, or whatever day of the week it is for you, I will be streaming on YouTube. All other days will be Twitch.
To supposedly fund their turnaround plan.
Are the tips in the Streamlabs link? There's a... Hold on. Tips. In a second, that should come up. Or is it, like, tip singular? Might be singular.
The time. Another $100 million in February.
There it is. There's the link.
And mind you, we later learned that money came after the company was already soliciting bidders in December for a 363 sale in Chapter 11. So 6th Street already knew the company had plans to file, and they still provided that $100 million.
Right, because initially their plan was to try and restructure and downsize, because they were hoping that downsized and focusing on their more profitable stores, rather, that they might be able to rebuild over time. They were unsuccessful, which they have since said. They were unsuccessful in that attempt.
And they made 5 amendments to the loan terms in the 3 months prior to the Chapter 11 filing, at which point they provided a $95 million DIP financing with a $200 million roll-up. So it's important to recognize...
Bed Bath & Beyond isn't the first company to go bankrupt. Did these people care about Circuit City or Radio Shack? More recently, some of them care about Sears. Some of them are still holding canceled Sears stock, which is unfortunate. So I imagine there will be Bed Bath & Beyond people for a bit.
That both the DIP and the Philo facility collateralized every asset of the debtor, or substantially all of the assets owned by Bed Bath & Beyond. And as PP always says, they paid down the ABL 5 years in advance, and that's what gave 6th Street this super priority as creditor. Now, a bank like 6th Street doesn't knowingly burn its capitals, its capital. Investing, they don't invest in companies on the verge of a Chapter 7-esque liquidation.
Do you know what a DIP loan is? There are literal loans that exist specifically to give money to companies under bankruptcy to help them restructure. So to say that companies don't do that is wrong. It literally has a name.
And they're also not driven by altruism either. They're a business.
Toys R Us is still open in some locations in Canada. Some locations might exist, but the company does not. Someone bought the company, or someone bought the name, and some of the company's assets, for instance, there were some, I think, auto repair places with Sears branding and stuff. So some of the locations exist, but they are no longer connected to each other or connected to some sort of central corporate hub. The company that was the core of Sears, the company that the stock was actually connected to, no longer exists.
They're a financial services...
It's like Blockbuster. There's like one Blockbuster left somewhere, but like it has nothing to do with the corporation Blockbuster. They're just like the last one standing, and they still have the branding and are allowed to use it.
Business, and as such, they intend for their debt in some way to provide, to give them leverage down the line. So they can use that debt to serve as a payment in kind for the entire company if they have to when it's time to collect. So we've all been waiting for someone to publicly place an offer and acquire the company without realizing, at least for me, that these frequent repeated loans provided by 6th Street over the past year have essentially served as payments for the company's assets. You know, it's an unorthodox way of getting a leveraged buyout.
What? You think that the DIP loans are a secret buyout? What?
To occur.
That makes no goddamn sense. They weren't really giving them loans to try and restructure. They were secretly buying the company. You can't secretly buy a company. What is wrong with these people's brains?
Right under our noses. And I think that's why the Chapter 11 plan promises 6th Street nearly 100% projected recovery on their claims. So when you take a look at this at first, seemingly it's unfortunate for shareholders. The table summarizing the expected recoveries, we're projected to have a 0% recovery. And
sorry, no, it does not say you have a 0% recovery. People above you have a 0% recovery. Your category says NA, not applicable, so you don't even get a percentage. Not even 0%. Just not applicable. You're not even in the conversation. It's not even a discussion.
And in that
so much worse than 0%.
Presentation format, the shills, the meltdowners, the idiots, they're having a field trip. They've been given this easy number to point to that fits their
seatbelts, everyone.
Narrative. And I really think some of them are genuine. I think some of them are genuinely under the impression that it's over for us. And these media hit pieces claiming we're going to be wiped out, it's just reinforcing their arrogance.
Again, I've asked this to Bed Bath & Beyond people. The articles from, like, the Wall Street Journal that explicitly say that Bed Bath & Beyond shareholders are going to be wiped out, if that's untrue, why wouldn't Bed Bath & Beyond sue them for libel? Because that would be something that would, if false, be potentially damaging to their company. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
So that's where I think we need to pause and think rationally for a moment. First, we need to reflect on who's behind 6th Street. The bank didn't go above and beyond to fund the company's ass over the past year so that they can trade home furniture or risk making pennies on the dollar for unsold towels and curtains.
They're going to take what they can get because they're liquidating. They don't have a lot of choice. Like, they don't have choice. It's this or nothing. They'd rather take a little than nothing.
Been pulling the strings using 6th Street as...
I actually don't have a Blockbuster card.
Their agent. Their middleman. And I've made it clear before that...
I went to Family Video and Hollywood Video when I was younger. Went to Blockbuster a little bit when I was even younger, but I never had a card. My parents rented stuff because that was when I was like a little kid.
I believe the coincidental timing of RC's exit and the entry of 6th Street as this central figure in the saga, it supports the idea of RC being behind the curtain. And to me, it explains why we have RC Ventures listed as a creditor on Pacer and in the dockets, and why on PitchBook, this $20,000 a year subscription service confirms his involvement up until the day they filed for Chapter 11, April 23rd. And one thing that's been made absolutely clear to everyone is the company's financial position. It's their debt. So how much money does Bed Bath & Beyond owe, and to whom? So that,
billions and billions of dollars.
That's something that everyone agrees on. And it's that way because it's outlined so methodically in the legal filings.
Take your meds.
If RC Ventures is listed as a certified creditor, where's the entry in the books and financial statements? Where's the mention of the amount owing to RC in the court hearings? The details of the financing he provided. Bed Bath owes RC money. Where are the details of that debt? And to me, a simple explanation is that he's been...
Hold on, this is breaking, so I gotta cover this. When was this posted? Like an hour ago? How did I miss this? Why didn't no one mention this? Bum ba dum ba da ba bum 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 bum. New charges in Trump Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. You did, Baha. Special counsel Jack Smith on Thursday brought additional charges against former President Donald Trump in the investigation into potential mishandling of classified documents after leaving the White House. Smith also filed new charges against Trump aide Walt Nauta and added a new defendant, Mar-a-Lago maintenance employee Carlos de Oliveira, to the case. Read the superseding indictment here. This is the... Oh, God. Is there just the article continuing? No, it's the whole thing. Do I need to read the whole fucking thing? What are the charges? There we go. Prosecutors allege in the updated indictment that 2 Trump employees, Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, attempted to delete security camera footage at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort after the Justice Department issued a subpoena for the footage. Ooh, spoliation! Fun! De Oliveira told the director of IT at the resort that the boss wanted the server deleted, according to the indictment. Trump, who was already facing 37 criminal charges, was charged with 1 additional count of willful retention of national defense information and 2 additional obstruction counts. Trump was charged with willfully retaining a top-secret document about possible Iran attack plans, which he discussed with biographers during a taped meeting at Bedminster, New Jersey. The indictment says that the document was a presentation concerning military activity in a foreign country and that Trump showed it to the biographers during the meeting. New charges were also filed against Trump's aide Nauta, and Mar-a-Lago maintenance worker de Oliveira was also added to the case. De Oliveira, 56, was charged with lying to the FBI about moving boxes with classified documents. Trump and Nauta were previously charged last month and have pled not guilty. De Oliveira was the maintenance worker who helped Nauta move boxes of classified documents around Mar-a-Lago after the Justice Department first subpoenaed Trump for classified documents last May. CNN had previously reported that the surveillance footage turned over to the Justice Department showed Nauta de Oliveira moving document boxes around the resort, including into a storage room just before the Trump lawyer, Evan Corcoran, searched it for classified documents. Justice Department officials came to Mar-a-Lago the day after Corcoran's search, and Corcoran handed over 38 classified documents he had found. Yet the FBI retrieved more than 100 more classified documents when it searched Mar-a-Lago in August, both in the storage room and Trump's office. The Justice Department has subsequently said in court that it believes the government records were likely concealed and removed from the storage room. De Oliveira spoke to investigators earlier this year and his phone had been seized. John Irving, defense attorney for de Oliveira, declined to comment. Irving is among the lawyers whose law firm had received nearly $200,000 in payments for legal services from Donald Trump's Save America PAC. De Oliveira has been summoned to appear at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, July 31st in federal court in Miami. In a statement, a Trump spokesman called the charges nothing more than a continued desperate and flailing attempt by the Biden crime family and their Department of Justice to harass President Trump and those around him. That sounds like they're doing great. Separately on Thursday, Trump's defense lawyers and Smith met in Washington, D.C. to discuss the investigation into the efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. No guidance was given to Trump's team about the timing of a possible indictment, sources familiar with the matter told CNN. The grand jury in Washington continues to hear evidence from the special counsel's probe into election subversion efforts by Trump and his allies. Beautiful.
And acting as a guarantor for the loans that have been offered by 6th Street. I also believe he's holding nearly 85% of the bonds as a retail investor. So with the Freeman's holdings amounting to only 14% of the total. So this would explain at least
Can you even buy the majority of the bonds in a company and not disclose that? Kind of feels like for a public company, that's something that would have to be disclosed if you were buying a very large percentage of them.
Ryan Cohen, in his personal capacity, is listed as a creditor in addition to RC Ventures. And when you have it that way, as a consequence, both 6th Street and RC, as separate entities, they could still be considered duplicate recipients. So whenever you have these relevant court documents that are ready to be served, it could potentially explain why RC's address show up as undeliverable. And that's just my opinion. So, just to regurgitate briefly what I've said, 6th Street's put Bed Bath & Beyond into this deeply leveraged position over the past year. They financed them even when they knew the company would be shortly filing for Chapter 11. And they overtook JP Morgan's claims over any collateralized assets, and they adopted this super priority through the DIP financing allowing the company also to pay off the ABL years ahead of schedule. Within a year, starting from the moment RC sold, 6th Street became entitled to nearly 100% of the company's assets, with the exception of the IP, which, as we know, was leased to Overstock.com and Dream On Me. So, 6th Street's projected recovery, according to the Chapter 11 plan, is 100%. Whoever is behind 6th Street, likely, in my opinion, to be Ryan Cohen, effectively owns the shell of the company.
I can't believe that. What do you even mean by shell at this point? The leases are rejected. They have no more stores. They fired all their employees. They have no more employees. Their merchandise is being sold. They have no merchandise. What is the company? What do you think the company is that they would be buying? And before you say Knowles, you literally cannot just buy a company for Knowles. That's literally illegal.
It's the remaining inventory, the real estate, the logistics, the operations. And just as a side note, we know they do intend to reorganize and preserve the business.
They tried and failed.
Life was very clever to demonstrate the preservation of 235 Bed Bath & Beyond stores, 68 baby stores that weren't auctioned in the lease sales. So think. Will the successor behind 6th Street, who effectively owns 100% of the company, want to eliminate us, the shareholders of the company they just acquired?
They didn't acquire a company. They acquired a bunch of assets that they're going to sell off for pennies on the dollar what they're owed. They did not acquire the company. They acquired assets from the company because it is liquidating and they owe a bunch of money to them. So they're passing off the actual liquidation to them, the merchandise that they're going to sell, probably not even as individual items, but they're going to sell that shit by weight. And it's going to end up in, like, weird clearance stores that buy things by the pound.
Wouldn't such a successor want to take advantage of the Knowles?
Isn't it Bye Bye Baby that they've turned into their beacon of hope? They did for a while, but that stopped because the IP was sold, and similarly, the leases are getting rejected or whatever, getting rid of. So, actually, a few of the leases were sold, I think, to Dream On Me, so they might be opening a small number of Bye Bye Baby stores under the new name, but really it's not Bye Bye Baby, and it's not connected to BBBY. They just bought the name and some of the leases separately. So it's technically a completely different entity operating under the same name. Has nothing to do with these guys and their stock.
That Bed Bath & Beyond itself, emphasized in written language, is a valuable asset for a going concern auction, acquisition. So, well, if they want the Knowles, the ticker needs to survive. So the credit bid that 6th Street's going to make, it's likely going to involve some kind of debt for equity stock exchange, and somehow we maintain some ownership. Wouldn't such a successor, who then holds shares of this company, want to capitalize on the short squeeze potential? Are they not in the business to make money? So
the short squeeze you're describing isn't real. 90% at this point of the stock is owned by retail. It's just a bunch of swing traders and cultists.
So, assuming that RC is truly the successor behind 6th Street, I'll slow it down a bit. Wouldn't he want his vision, as he very clearly articulated in his March 22 letter to the board, wouldn't he want to unlock shareholder value?
What do you even think that means, shareholder value? Billionaires are in the business of giving less fortunate people tons of money for no reason.
You want to avoid, fucking over his loyal investors.
Loyal investors. He doesn't give a fuck about you.
You want to avoid tarnishing his reputation as a pump and dumper, and give those insolent producers behind making of the meme, whatever, documentary, wouldn't he want to prevent them from having further credibility? Wouldn't he want and need to eliminate short hedge funds, illegally shorting, naked short?
This entire thesis of naked shorting is so dumb. It's not real, the thing you're describing, in large amounts, and not for Bed Bath & Beyond. Bed Bath & Beyond was not destroyed because of malicious short sellers. It was destroyed by poor management and business decisions.
Shorting every one of his business ventures with no end in sight. So, it's easy when we're in this constant defense mode, trying to justify our investment in the company.
Don't harass this guy, don't brigade him, only use that if you're curious and want to look. Do not touch the poo.
When we're being hit with a tsunami of FUD from relentless rabid shills, it's easier to forget the bigger picture. And my theory, and a theory that a lot of us hold, is that Ryan Cohen has this dual purpose for Bed Bath & Beyond. You know, on the one hand, it's this cost-efficient avenue to take Teddy Holdings public, so it can compete with Amazon's market share. You know, we all have eyes to recognize that Teddy's much bigger than a series of children's books. And Bed Bath & Beyond is also the perfect candidate for a short squeeze, to break the basket and finally bring an end to this illegal naked short selling. The bigger picture is that we're invested in a bear trap. And the fact that the meltdowners and the media are running with this Chapter 11 plan with orgasmic highs is a testament to how intelligently subtle and this trap has been laid. So the evidence is in front of us. Nothing in the Chapter 11 plan disqualifies shareholders from participating in a stock exchange deal. You know,
nothing explicitly says we can't do it. Air Bud logic. I love that. Nothing in the rules says a dog can't play basketball.
Something that we've...
Can he dribble? No, but I think he can drool a little.
Always wanted to trigger a short squeeze. And if...
It's not how the world works. The world does not work on Air Bud logic.
If anything, they explicitly mention potential distributions to claimants. And remember also, whoever is holding those unexercised derivatives from the warrant deals, whoever is holding...
I think I'm done with AJ. He's just
not
copium posting.
This is likely going to be my last online appearance prior to the short squeeze.
Okay, guess we're never going to see him again then. That's a shame.
I think I'm just going to sit back and watch this bear trap unfold. You know, if at any time we hear news of any kind that indicates that we're heading to zero again, you could be damn sure that I'm still going to be holding my shares. So to echo Kais, I love the stock, and to echo Pepe, I love the community. And, you know, I hope we all shoot past the moon. We deserve it. We've deserved it. So, before I actually end the clip, I also want to share my...
Okay. So that's AJ coping, which is a shame. Is there anything else I wanted to cover today?
To be or not to be? That is the question. The answer: to be at Street Fashion. Be there for Levi's jeans. Street Fashions has the best prices, the best quality, and the best selection of Levi's jeans anywhere. Be who you want to be in Levi's jeans from Street Fashions. To be or not to be? Who do you
Why did that commercial steal the Back to the Future theme song?
want to be?
That's literally just the Back to the Future theme song. Did anyone else hear it? Like, I'm not crazy.
Be there for Levi's jeans. Street Fashions has the best prices, the best quality, and the best selection of Levi's jeans anywhere. Be who you want to be in Levi's jeans from Street Fashions. To be
dun, 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 dun.
Be or not to be? Who do you want to be?
It's the Back to the Future theme song. You just straight up ripped off John Williams. What are you doing?
and I present myself to you today in person as King Regis Lucius I. I am both the creator and the head of state of a new country, a new state, which is called the state of Taos. Now, it's not every day that you hear about a new state. We'll have to give that, but there are reasons why.
Okay, I have to pee real quick, but I do want to hear about this guy who thinks he made his own country, so I'm gonna go pee, and then I'll be right back, and we'll continue this, okay? Behave!
And how we got from there to here. And in this overview video, we'll kind of touch a bit of the overview, and in the future we'll probably have more videos where we'll look into detail or in depth into each of the themes that we'll just be kind of touching quickly today. So what's happening is in the world, tyranny is increasing extremely quickly. It is growing. Now, in the older days, the states, countries or states that used to be known for being fair, for being just.
Were they? When? Where? What? Name a single society in history that is fair to everyone. That is one of the most insane statements about humans I have ever heard. Oh my god.
Recently are turning to injustice and persecution to justify their commercial goals. That's a serious issue in itself, because what's happening is it's happening worldwide at the same time.
I'll check out the video later,
a lot of states
Aaron,
that are kind of coordinating in increasing tyranny, or increasing the darkness is increasing worldwide simultaneously. This is a big issue. Now, one of the issues that we have is that in our days, is countries have grown probably too big. Now, in the older days, when you had a nation, was a village, I mean, or a certain small amount of people, it was not necessarily huge. But nowadays, we live in times where countries are millions. Hundreds of millions are not so rare, and you have more.
I mean, I understand, that's just like, the population has grown a lot. There were a decent number of people in the Roman Empire, for instance, but like, of course there's more now. Population's gone insane post-industrialization.
Now what happens?
Because infant mortality rates have gone way down. Now they're starting to level out, because with the advent of vaccines and stuff, society has changed in that people tend to have fewer children. Birth control and contraceptives are much more widely available, along with sexual health education, so.
The problem with that is that a single state, will usually...
But there was a period, post-industrialization, but let's say just say the 19th and 20th centuries. Okay, throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, the population went fucking crazy. Because we had medicine to keep babies from dying as often, but people just wanted to fuck raw all the time.
Really have a unified vision,
And now we invented the internet.
Goal.
So no one fucks anymore.
Of where it wants to go.
Weird joke.
but with a large amount of population.
No, but people, you know, condoms and birth control pills and vasectomies and different cultural views on having children and its necessity or lack thereof.
Large population, what will happen is, well, of course you're going to have a certain portion of the population which will be pleased with the directions of the state. That's fine. But inevitably you're going to have others that will not be represented in those choices, in those decisions. We could say that historically then it wasn't so bad if some people were not represented in where the state was headed, because as long as they were respected in their dissension of this direction.
Historically, great large empires that last long are really respectful to people who dissent. Look at the Roman Empire, for instance. They loved dissent. Do you guys know? If you haven't known this, I think it's pretty important to explain, at least in part, the importance of the symbol of the cross to Christianity. You guys know I'm not religious, but I think a lot of people take for granted, like, you know, the crucifix, symbol of Christianity. One of the reasons that Jesus being crucified is so powerful as a cultural meaning to people in the time and place where that story was popularized and spread is because the Roman Empire crucified people who went against the Roman Empire. Like, just like a lifetime or two before the life of whoever Jesus was, like, there was a slave rebellion, and thousands of people who were involved got crucified, and they were lined up down a road in the Empire, and it just went on, people being fucking crucified. The crucifix itself was a symbol of punishment. It was a symbol for the power of the Roman Empire and its ability to punish dissidents with agonizing death. Agonizing torture and death. So then, you know, Christianity comes along and you have this story, however much is real or not, regardless, whether there was an actual guy, Yeshua, that was crucified or not. If he was, great. One of the reasons that probably caught, you know, fire, though, so to speak, in terms of popularity, is this narrative of, oh, the Romans tried to crucify him as a dissident, and he just came back. You know what I mean? That's a powerful symbol of being like, holy shit, the Romans have incredible power over us. Imagine if there was someone who would save us and even crucifixion couldn't stop them. You understand? So, I don't know, it's just this idea that, like, that in the past, dissonance in societies was handled fine and not at all violently is so ahistorical, I don't even know what to do with it. And that's just me talking about fucking Rome during a specific period of time. You can look throughout the rest of history to look at the rest of it.
It was fine. We would just, you know, take a backseat to the whole thing and stuff. But what's happening more and more nowadays is that the states are beginning to punish people. Their own.
At its peak, the Roman Empire had 75 million people in it with a density of 20 people per square kilometer.
Citizens for thinking.
It's actually more than I would have thought.
Differently, or thinking wrong think, or thinking how the state does not want you to think. Now, one of the concepts that is being pushed a lot in our times is the concept of diversity and inclusion. Hey, diversity is good. We need diversity. Yeah. That's fine for states within a very narrow spectrum.
Oh God, he's just a terrible person. Of course he is.
Of choices. Oh, no, diversity is great. Oh yes, we need neurodiversity. Yeah. But if you come out of that narrow spectrum of thought, and you're diverse.
Believing diversity is good as a narrow spectrum of thought, but your narrow spectrum of thought about what is acceptable is not genius.
In your thinking, not the way they want you, all of a sudden diversity doesn't get respected anymore. You're a dissenter, you're a troublemaker, and then they're gonna persecute for that. increasingly citizens are being persecuted.
What are you being persecuted for specifically, sir, that made you want to secede from wherever you are? Oh my god, he's got a fucking website. Ah! The sovereign state of Taos. I just also want to point out, holy shit, fucking terrible name for a company. Country? Taos? Awful. Also ironic. Cross imagery. Cross imagery. Sometimes I just think if everyone had the knowledge I have, the world would be a better place. That's the most egotistical thing I've ever said out loud, I'll have you know. Anyway, the mountains of the mainland of Taos. Never before in history has the whole world converged so quickly into tyranny as in the times we are living now. Really? For the virtuous people whom are increasingly being persecuted simply for thinking differently than the general world, times are quickly becoming hopeless. Good people are forced into silence by fear of being targeted for their individual beliefs. Which individual beliefs? You can always tell that it's awful when they just are this vague. Just absolutely fucking absurd. Oh my god. This country has an official Discord server, because of course it does. Oh my god, they have a Twitter page. Oh my god. Oh my god, Phoenix imagery. Holy shit. Yes. Oh, this is it? It's just this... Oh my god. This is psychotic and I love it. What in the world? Okay, I've been looking for my newest hyperfixation. I think we're there. I think we maybe are finding it. Oh god. What? What? This is some Molossia shit, except he believes it. Guys, I think we need to get Doug Walker in on... Bad joke, sorry. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. If I look at his likes, do you think there's porn? Hold on, I'm gonna do the thing where I check someone's likes, because sometimes they don't know that their likes are public. What are his likes? No? Okay. He's clean. He's clean! We got it. That's funny. All the accounts he's following are like the UN Human Rights Committee, the United Nations Geneva, UN Women, UNICEF, Amnesty International. Like, he's just following, like... Is this how he thinks you join the UN? You follow them on Twitter? Your likes are so far from clean. Oh, that's fine. But the thing is, you're not hypocritical. I was wondering if, even though he's probably transphobic, if he had liked trans pornography, because a lot of people, if you look at their likes who are transphobes, have liked pornography, including trans people, usually trans women, as a fetish object. Think people will ever say X instead of Twitter? I'm not gonna. It's fucking Twitter. Don't be horny on main. People are. If I don't like it, I just don't follow them. I'm so curious about the FAQ page. Is Taos a real state? How is this possible? Yes, Taos is a real state in international law. No, it's not. I guarantee it's not. And yes, this is entirely possible through a rare and complex situation of prolonged contact between the courts of Canada and his person. A living man has managed, either through sheer luck or by divine guidance, to rescind any presumed connection with that state, and then succeeded in establishing himself as independent of said state in international law, and from this unexpected but fortuitous independence, he managed to establish himself in person as a new sovereign king through the unwitting acquiescence and recognition of the crown in right of Canada, which is the crown of the United Kingdom, and through his newfound sovereignty as a new king, he then had the newfound authority to establish a new state, which is entirely independent of the other states in the world, and, as per international law, when a state is created, it just is, and its existence cannot be contested by other states. Oh my god, no one tell Taiwan or Palestine. God fucking damn it. When a state is created, it just is, and it must simply be recognized by other states, and now Taos is fully independent in international law. I'm assuming what happened is he did the sovereign citizen thing where he sent some bullshit legal document to some government office and said, like, if you don't respond to this document that says I'm an independent nation within 90 days, then I will consider this your consent. And of course, you know, no one did anything because it's a crazy person document. So he's like, aha! They didn't respond. I did it. I've done it. Their silence is consent. And also a fundamental misunderstanding of how, like, sovereignty works. Oh, God. Whatever happened to Marcel? He's still around. He got out of jail. He makes videos from time to time. Nothing interesting, but we've covered a few things. Whether the creation of this new state was pure and sheer luck or if it was the result of a form of divine guidance, we may never know. Honestly, I'm curious if this guy knows Marcel. If they're both Canadian. Like, I know Canada's a big place, but they're also part of the same kind of weird faux independence community, so they might have gone to the same conventions. Because I know Marcel does, like, online, like, conventions and talks, so I wonder if they've ever met. It has indeed happened by rare circumstance, and just as darkness is rising in the world, the opposite side of the equation must also equally rise, and therefore an earthly kingdom of light is also being restored with Taos, and this nation-state is now ready to fight and counter the growing darkness in order to help revert the growing persecution of the righteous. The territory of Taos is in Canada. How can this be possible? No, it's not. The territory of Taos is entirely sovereign and belongs only to the state of Taos itself. And Canada and other states of the world have no say within the territory of Taos. Guys, he said it, so it's true. The areas of land which Taos has claimed for its own used to be claimed by foreign states such as Canada and the province of Quebec. Ugh. But these claims have been forfeited by lack of use. You see, Taos is claimed as its territory, the public lands which were never privatized by anyone. Oh, is he squatting on government land? Oh, no! Oh, boy, he's gonna get fucked. And since they were never privatized and therefore never truly claimed, the land has remained public and any claim to these lands is void by neglect. I don't think that's true. Which means they'll still belong to everyone and therefore Taos could claim them for their own use. That's not how public land works in the United States. I doubt it's how it works in Canada. There are very large swaths of Canada that are just, you know, untamed wilderness. Because they're not very hospitable places to live. So he might not get noticed. I've also read Hatchet. I know. But that doesn't make it legal. He will probably get caught eventually. Public doesn't mean this is mine now. Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah. Is Taos going to interfere with other countries? Absolutely not. And this is very important to mention and clarify. Taos is an entirely neutral and peaceful state. Oh, God. I'm just trying to look and see if there's any... I might go more in depth. I think this might require a stream in and of itself because this looks really interesting and I want to see all the videos on his channel. Because he must have multiple. But I just want to skim and see. Will the state offer passports and other important documents? Yes, like any state, Taos will eventually issue all required documents to its citizens, including but not limited to international driver's license, vehicle license plates, passports, birth certificates, and everything else required in order to facilitate the transit of citizens on Earth. Oh, that's not good. If he even attempts that, that's going to be fraud immediately. Oh my god. Okay, let's read this. As previously mentioned, tyranny is increasing rapidly around the world against the free thinkers and independent, and it's through such a time as these the state of Taos unexpectedly came to be. At the end of 2021, the living man who is now known in person as King Regis Lucius and his happy family were taken by mistake into a storm of pain and suffering when the police of the foreign state of Canada made a mistake of, quote, pre-crime and stormed the house of the man for no good reason at all. Expecting to find something that did not exist, the police sent a squadron of many dozen foreign agents to search a house without right. So his house got searched by Canadian police. Notwithstanding that the police broke multiple rules of international law, they also called CPS in order to summon foreign agents, CPS agents, to kidnap the children, legally remove children from a potentially dangerous environment, and take them away from their loving parents. Parents apparently accused of some sort of crime. Which I understand. You're innocent until proven guilty. I'm not saying otherwise. I am, however, saying they are within their legal right to take your kids somewhere if you're both being arrested. If they don't, I'm sure they'll ask, do you have grandparents or something? Do they have other guardians they could have people look after? But if they don't... Anyway. Despite that there was no right nor reason to do so, as the children were living in a loving family, according to you, who was simply in the temporary process of moving between houses. But they did not matter to the foreign states of Quebec and Canada, because once caught up in their system, even if only by mistake, the game began to ensure that the whole family was entirely subservient to the foreign states, and to enforce the uncompromising attitude. Oh boy. This living man had begun learning about law as a hobby, which is never a good call, and facing difficult odds, he decided to use the law in order to attempt to protect his family from these foreign agents, which had no right to intervene in their lives and their family. While using the law and also requesting that human rights be respected in the courts of law should have brought a swift end to these ordeals, it had the unexpected opposite effect of unnaturally prolonging these matters for well over a year now. So basically, he tried a bunch of sob-sit bullshit in court, and it went badly. CPS is often weaponized against disenfranchised minorities, yes, but these people are poor messengers for that message. I would agree. I'm not saying that there's never been situations where CPS takes children where they don't need to be. I understand. I'm pretty sure this guy's a fucking nut job, though, so I would imagine that he's probably doing some fucked up shit and is probably actually a danger to himself and probably his family. So I understand that they probably had good reason in this particular case. These matters are still ongoing to this day. The man knowing a fair amount about law and rights... I'm assuming the court doesn't know your address, then. If you've moved to this fake country, the court probably doesn't know your real address, which you're required to tell the court an up-to-date address so they can send legal stuff and summons if need be. Have fun, Chris. Hope the Barbie movie's good. Heard it is. I'm excited to go see it myself. About law and rights began blah blah blah. This man, knowing a fair amount about law and rights, began requesting that the courts and their agents provide their authority, so he tried to do the "can you prove your jurisdiction" bullshit, which never works. And him being in the right, the courts and the agencies of Canada and Quebec, well, apparently you weren't in the right. The courts and the agencies of Canada and Quebec resorted to corruption and deprivation of rights in order to artificially maintain their false authority. So basically, his script that he got didn't work because he doesn't really understand the law, and it didn't work, so he's decided, instead of recognizing that he probably was incorrect, it must be the courts that are corrupt. In this case, they're not. A long series of court battles ensued, and the man attempted multiple times to obtain justice in various superior courts, and every time he made some headway. The further and more bold the corruption of the courts of Quebec and Canada became, to the point where the courts and judges resorted to clear and evident fraud. Are you going to share that evidence, or? And corruption in order to deny justice, and also to seemingly justify the completely corrupt continuance of these matters, the states were not willing to admit that they had to abdicate the matter. In order to achieve this, they entered into full corruption and became entirely lawless. This is what we are dealing with. Justice is dead. Should we go see it tomorrow? What's tomorrow? Friday? I think I could do tomorrow. Yeah, why not? The intensity and length of the battles, which have lasted for well over a year now, and the sheer corruption of the legal courts involved, had the effect of creating the rare and unusual circumstance where a new nation could take life within the ashes of this ordeal, and the living man, knowing enough law to assemble the necessary pieces of the puzzle which were required to assemble a new state, and him also having the heart to cry out to the world that there is no other way to live but, okay, purple prose, we fucking get it, you're the freedom fighter. They'll never take our freedom! I get it. It is through the fires of hell that man was forged and tempered, through the pain and suffering, we get it. He saw no other way to restore their freedom than to take action. He established himself as a new sovereign king in the realm, and it is through the ashes of these battles that the state of Taos was born. On the 7th day of September, the sovereign states of Taos was created in law, by and through the sovereignty of its king, and from a glimmer hope. It began as a small legal embryo, and from here it grew to take legal shape, full shape in international law. From the necessity of dream and into reality, in 2023, the state of Taos is now ready to welcome more people as citizens and grow in order to navigate the seas of fate on its own and begin offering a new hope to those who want to live in a fair and just country. I am so curious what his other views are. Like, are trans people mentioned at all in this? Because he's right-wing, and he's like loony right-wing, so I'm kind of under the impression that he probably isn't cool with trans people, if I had to guess. Oh, he was on a radio show. I'm assuming he was brought on this, I'm assuming he was brought onto this radio show as like a, look at this weirdo, basically what I do, but in radio form.
Space Gas avec Jean-Francis Rich Black.
I fucking hate radio so much. It's a shame, because if I was... You ever seen a show? Like, Sabrina the Teenage Witch did this. Sabrina the Teenage Witch did an episode where everyone went back in time. Like, the whole world. But everyone was doing the same stuff, just kind of the 1970s version of it. If that happened, I'd probably be a radio DJ. That's probably the closest equivalent to what I'm doing now. That's a shame. Oh, thanks, Jesse Walker. Glad to have you here. Welcome. It's in French. Fuck. The goddamn Quebecois! What are you doing? You're in North America! Speaking... I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't have hard opinions about French Canadians. However, Gen X humor has made me believe I should. Remember French being a punchline?
88-670-9098, vous êtes dans le Spacecast.
Boo!
Si on veut être...
Horrible. About the king. Oh, that's a headshot. His Majesty King Regis Lucius the First. Wow. Okay, back to his crazy video.
Or thinking differently, or wanting to live differently than the unified vision of the state, which is more and more tending to force a single way to live on.
I understand, like, the anxiety that he underlying this, despite the fact that I think a lot of this is coming from the fact that he's really right-wing and probably doesn't like the fact that the rest of the world isn't. Or that at least the surrounding area to him isn't, whatever. So that stuff's shitty. But I think an underlying anxiety can exist for people, just the fact that, like, you know, we're born without, you know, we don't have a choice in the matter. We're born and exist, and we're born into firmly entrenched societies and states. You know, societies that you had no part in forming, but you're just born into it, and it shapes you, and you are conforming and kind of going along with that cultural zeitgeist, you know, as you get older. So I understand this anxiety that might come from some sort of weird existential fear about being like, I'm trapped in this society, like I was born into this, I had no choice, and like blah 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 blah. I understand how you could have, like, I used to have Irvin Yalom's, I believe is his name. book, Existential Psychology, on this shelf before I changed it to Blu-rays. But, like, it's understandable. Some people have anxieties surrounding existential questions and the fact that, like, oh, we're all, you know, people of the culture we're born in. We're all, like, kind of, yes, when the country you're born in is probably the country you're gonna, you know, live the rest of your life in, statistically. It just is what it is, and that can be something that you have to deal with in some way. But, like, there's no option for you to just make a new country unless literally you could find new land, which you haven't. And not even that, even if you found new land, the way that countries have worked, since he's so interested in, like, history, how governments have worked historically, does he think that he can defend this land if Canada came to him and was like, hey, this is ours? Like, does he plan on taking the entire Canadian military? Wolverines in the Canadian military! Alpha Flight. Anyway, jokes aside, it's just interesting seeing people deal with certain anxieties in very unhealthy ways.
People. Well, that's a big issue. You also have the courts of justice. And more, they are becoming courts of injustice.
I literally knew he was going to say that. I was going to pause it and make the joke before he did, but I had water in my mouth.
Now, the thing about courts is, at least in concept and historically, is courts would be fair and impartial.
In theory, I don't know if that's ever been true in practice. I know you're Canadian, but in the United States, definitely not.
And
I would imagine... I don't know the racial relation situation in Canada vis-a-vis, like, white people and black people, but, like, I know in Canada Indigenous people have been fucked over by the courts, just like they have in the United States. So let's not pretend that all courts, or any courts, are, like, completely blind to bias and making terrible judgment calls.
The job of the court would be to verify the facts from all sides and then adjudicate based on the results of the facts, no matter where the decision is. But what's happening in our times is not so much that anymore, but rather the state has a predetermined goal that it wants to achieve.
States generally have goals that they want to achieve.
Courts are there to justify.
It depends. It very much depends. Like, you could certainly argue that there are, in the United States, the Federalist Society, their judges are basically groomed and trained to be very right-wing corporatist bullshit in order to try and push America further right fiscally and in many ways socially, you know? It's shitty, but that's also done by, like, private interest, right? So certainly there are people in the United States government, Republicans, who are in favor of that, and I'm sure many of them put money into it. It's more complicated than that, and I'm sorry I'm talking about the United States and not Canada or Quebec specifically, but I just don't know anything about Canadian politics, Canadian courts. I don't know anything about it, so I can't speak to it.
The decision of the state. And if the courts were to apply fairness and justice, but the result would be not what the state wants, then the courts corrupt it and deny justice. Now, I've seen that with my own eyes, and I'll get back to that. Through all this increasing persecution of the state worldwide, is that good people are being hurt simply for wanting to live differently or for believing different beliefs.
He's so vague. I want to know so bad what his beliefs are. What are your beliefs, sir? You're being so vague about this, and I need to know. Oh my god, did he literally just dub this in different languages? Probably subs. He speaks French-Canadian, so it's possible the French one is his, but like...
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, this one just has subtitles. Okay.
Hola a todos.
Oh!
Soy un hombre vivo.
He actually speaks Spanish, too. That's cool.
Alors bonjour à tous.
Oh. That's pretty cool. Polyglot. That's impressive. Is this French?
en ce moment est en train de grandir, est en
Damn
train de
it.
s'épanouir.
Fucking French.
Released in the state. Some people are arrested and sent to prison for crimes that are not crimes. What's next?
Well, what do you mean by crimes? In this case, like, it feels like you're assuming that if something... There's a difference between legality and morality, right? For instance, in the United States, it's still federally illegal to possess marijuana, right? Generally. There might be some specific THC kinds that aren't now. I'm not sure. I know some state accidentally legalized gummies, I think, which is hilarious. But, anyway, the point is, like, sure, I can point to that and say, that's not right that that person got arrested for possession of marijuana. It's not hurting anyone. It's probably not even really hurting them that much unless they're, like, smoking it and, you know, it's hurting their body or whatever. Whatever. It's not as harmful as, like, something like alcohol. And in moderation, it's fine. Right? Weed, I mean. But that wouldn't make it not illegal. I wouldn't say, it's not even illegal. That's just an inaccurate statement. Like, weed is illegal, and I'm assuming whatever thing you're saying isn't illegal is. But again, you're being vague, so people can't criticize you, which I find a little cowardly, but whatever.
Gulags, work camps, it's been seen before. You've got good families being destroyed. Kids kidnapped by states for no reason at all other than maybe they homeschool and do not want...
Starting to see a picture. The picture's coming together.
...to teach what the state wants them to.
What were you teaching instead of whatever the standards are for Quebec or Canada? I don't know if it's a provincial thing or if the educational standards are federal. Probably both. There's probably federal Canadian educational standards and then state ones as well. I'm assuming that he was probably teaching them some absolute horse shit. Or unschooling. Oh god, was he doing the unschooling thing? Which I would argue is absolutely fucking child abuse. Like, okay. Homeschooling isn't always abusive and fucked up. As long as you supplement that with a lot of other social activities with other kids, for your kids, right? The problem is, I think most of the time, homeschooling is an excuse for insulated, fanatical people to try and push their beliefs on their children. There are very few people who are qualified to be homeschool teachers. This guy isn't one, I don't think. What's unschooling? Oh god, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to explain this to you. That would be a good topic to cover too, unschooling people. Unschooling is a style of home education that allows the students' interests and curiosities to drive the path of learning rather than using a defined curriculum. Unschoolers trust children to gain knowledge organically. So I have seen this, and in, like, mommy groups, I'm sure you've seen those before, I saw a woman in an unschooling group being like, my kid's like 10 and doesn't know how to read. I kind of thought that they'd, like, you know, try, but they just don't want to. What do I do? It's like, man, it's almost like you kind of push kids into doing certain educational tasks because children's brains are underdeveloped and don't know how important this stuff is. Like, I get it. I understand. I was also a kid in school. I was a kid with ADHD that wasn't diagnosed until, like, some years ago as an adult. I also had difficulty in school, especially at first. I understand that kids don't necessarily want to do the things that they're, you know, forced, quote-unquote, to do in school. And I also recognize, again, I'm speaking from an American perspective, I don't know what the Quebec schools are like, but in America, I also understand that, like, shit isn't the greatest. We underpay teachers, right? We base too much on, like, standardized testing metrics instead of the quality of testing. Instead of doing qualitative teaching, we're doing quantitative teaching where, like, students know specific ways to take tests, which is not helpful in the real world in many cases, right? I understand all of that. But this idea that it's more beneficial to just let kids do whatever is so irresponsible. That is so irresponsible. As a kid, let me give you an example. As a kid, I really didn't like to read when I was a little kid, and I think that part of this had to do with my ADHD, which I've always had, and it's always been a problem for me. But I didn't like reading necessarily at first. I got frustrated, you know? A lot of kids get frustrated when they can't do something at first, but especially me. I always had that problem because ADHD. I just get frustrated that I can't immediately do it, and the process of practicing over and over again, you know, it can be monotonous, and it can feel awful for a child. So I really didn't want to read books. So, and even though I don't talk to my mom anymore, and she's done a lot of terrible things and irresponsible things, I will say this. One thing she did that I will always be thankful for, regardless of how I feel about her, is the fact that she did a lot of incentivizing to get me to learn to read. You know, we did summer library programs. We had a library relatively near us when I was a kid, and we'd go to the library all the time, because she was a stay-at-home mom at the time. I don't know if this was the same time she ran a at-home daycare or a little bit after. But either way, we'd go to that library all the time, and I'd, usually rent a video or something, because this library had VHS tapes. Speaking of which, if anyone, there's some media that I'm trying to find. It's called Spine Chillers. It's kind of a Goosebumps type show. It's a kids horror show, but it took place, I think, at like a single school, and it had the same characters every episode. The episode I'm thinking of is someone gets a sketchbook, and they draw monsters and stuff, but the monsters they draw in the sketchbook come to life. I think there's a mummy in that one. Anyway, I've been trying to find that for years, so if anyone does, let me know. I'm way off track here. Anyway, she made me go to the library a decent amount. She went too. She would use the computers and stuff. She liked to do chat rooms in the 90s. When was it made? 90s, early 2000s, I think. I'm pretty sure it was based on a book series, and it was supposed to be kind of a rip-off of Goosebumps. Don't know that. Anyway, so she used computers, and I would go to the kids section and find books, and the books at our local library had sections for little kids learning to read, and they were like, oh, here's, you know, level 1, 2, 3. So she, you know, through that and through incentivizing me by saying, like, hey, if you read X number of books, you know, we can do this special thing, or you can have this special treat. Or, like I said, there are a lot of summer reading programs for kids that I'm sure you're aware of. Pizza Hut did, like, a, you know, a reading thing where if you read a certain number, you got, like, a free personal pizza. The library itself had a program where you could get little prizes and stuff. Anyway, that actually got me to read a lot. And I ended up liking reading, you know? It was still difficult, and as I've gotten older, I got more into listening to audiobooks because of the ADHD. It's not so bad now. I'm medicated, and the other day I actually sat down to read one of my books. This is the first time I've sat down to really read since I was medicated, which has been a while, I know. I've been playing Skyrim and doing this, and being obsessed with Bed Bath & Beyond. But anyway, it was a lot easier to read, which is nice. The point I'm trying to make is, you guys have heard me read on stream. I think you guys know that I'm literate. I'm quite literate, and I understand what I'm reading. Not just reading the words, but I'm pretty good at understanding what I'm reading, which is a big part of, I think, the shortcomings of some people's literacy, is not that they can't literally read, like, the words, it's that they just don't understand what the words mean. I think I'm pretty good at those things, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I was forced to do something I didn't want to do. Now, this isn't always the case. I'm not saying everything you ever want to force your kids to do is good, but I don't think it's unreasonable in the context of schooling to be like, hey, you need to read. Reading is, you know, all these things. Math is good. Do these things. I was never good at math. She did not push me to do math. Which is fine. But I don't know, it just hurts me a lot to see kids who are done a serious disservice. 2003 Spine Chillers. Let me take a look. Let me save this under Chuds real quick, because I know someone sent this. Make sure I'm saving stuff. Oops. Spine Chillers trailer, VHS video vault.
Mentioned it before, but I mentioned, and particularly the
floorboards. No, I think that has the same name, but I don't think it's the same thing. It was a kids show. At least I'm 90% sure it was a children's show, so I think it had the same name. But it did not actually, I don't think it was that show. Spine Chiller's drawing book? I don't know. Oh wait, a school story. That looked right.
Something equally uninteresting. The extra
No, this is just a guy talking. What the fuck? Okay, I have no idea then. Back to the crazy guy. I've gotten way off topic. The point is, yeah, kids aren't always gonna like learning, and I understand. It's completely fair to allow your kids some autonomy, you know, but that autonomy is kind of related to their age, right? Really little kids need a lot of guidance, and sometimes need pushes to do things that you know they need to. Eating their vegetables, you know? Not eating a bunch of candy and getting sick, you know? Learning good habits. Treating other people with kindness, etc. Kids need to be pushed, even if you do allow them a decent amount of autonomy. You know, you're still their guidance.
To learn.
I am not thinking of Are You Afraid of the Dark? This is what I'm saying. Like, I haven't even heard anyone mention this as a lost media thing. This is why it confounds me. Like, was I the only person to see this video? Am I completely misremembering it? Who knows? It's tough to say.
That's against freedom. It's happening more and more. Human rights are being denied.
What? Why? Which ones?
Well, human rights are essential.
Which ones?
The basic human and personal rights are the basics of the very structure of justice.
Okay. I think we're going to call it a night with this guy because we've been on for almost 4 hours, and I legit want to do a stream just investigating this guy. So that might be tomorrow. Tomorrow we might, on Twitch, earlier in the day, or I don't know, I guess it depends when we maybe plan on seeing Barbie. But sometime tomorrow I think the plan is going to be Bone Chillers! That's what it is! It's Bone Chillers, not Spine Chillers! You've done it! Oh my god, you've done it! Yes, thank you! Oh, fuck. Hold on, I gotta save this to VHS stream so we can watch this sometime. It is Bone Chillers! Oh, this is absolutely it! Yes, you did it! Yeah, and he draws the monster. Is this why I like puppetry and like Tom Savini stuff? Because I remember loving the monsters as a kid.
It was a figment, huh?
Yeah, I remember that.
There you are.
Yeah, and we had all the monsters at the end that he drew. I remember. Is that Dax Stewart? Let me look at this. Bone Chillers cast. For some reason, I thought it looked like Dax Shepard. Apparently, it's not. Anyway. So thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Tomorrow, we'll investigate that guy in his fake country further. And I will see you guys later. Have a great night. I gotta go get toilet paper because I forgot it last time I was at the store. Whatever. I'll get chicken. I've been wanting to make chicken nachos, but I haven't had chicken. I'll go get some chicken and make some nachos. Alright. Have a good night, everyone. I know YouTube takes longer for the stream to end. It's like got a longer delay. So I'm afraid to hit end because it's going to cut off the ending. So I'll keep babbling for a little bit to make sure you got the important parts of what I said before you realize that everything I'm saying now is just filler to make sure before I hit the end button, everyone knows what's going on. So things should just stop randomly at some point after I'm done with the filler. Love you too, Mr. Blast. Something about pears. Don't eat them. Okay, have a good night, everyone. Bye.